The New York Post Sports NFL Draft live stream for the NFL Draft 2025. I'm Dexter Henry, joined by the great Frankie Vittorini of U Stadium. Frankie, what's going on, man?
Dexter, I am so excited, man. I'm so excited. All these months and months of me watching these YouTube clips.
You've been studying. I want to let the people know. You have been studying and waiting for this moment, and we know you.
I don't know for what.
Well, that's why we do the draft.
For us.
But that's why we do the draft. It's
of course.
Yeah. You have no idea what's going to go on. Now, we're going to get into it with you because you are a big Jets fan. You're part of the Gangs All Here podcast here that we do at the New York Post, and we're going to talk about the Giants, of course. We're also going to be talking to, because we're trying to do this and pay attention to the Knicks game tonight, because Knicks game 3 is going on. Folks, if you want to know, Detroit's up 40-39 with 6:25 to go, actually make it 43-39. Things getting away from the Knicks right now in the second quarter. But we're going to talk about this NFL draft, which I think is a very fascinating NFL draft, and it's for the local teams, the Jets and the Giants. Giants picking at number 3 in the first round. Jets with the 7th pick. We're going to dive deep into this. I want to let the people know also, beside me and Frankie, we will be having the beat reporters for the New York Post covering each team. We'll have Paul Schwartz, who covers the Giants, and Brian Costello, who covers the Jets. They will be joining us when both teams are on the clock, okay? And then they will stick with us a little bit as they make those picks, give us their analysis, and then we'll move on. And we'll have some other surprises and guests as we go through this live stream. But when you look at this draft as a whole, there's a lot of questions. Cam Ward, supposedly the best quarterback in the draft, right? Then it's what happens after that? What do the Browns do at number 2? Will there be a quarterback for the Giants at 3? Will they take a quarterback? Or what's the thing in this draft that you're looking most forward to tonight?
Well, Dexter, I'll say this. I think there's 3 clear-cut players at the top of this draft that you can interchange them, although Cam Ward is going to go first overall. The betting odds now are minus 20,000 odds that he goes number 1. So he's going number 1 at Tennessee.
Right.
It's basically a lock. You have to bet $20,000 to win 100. So it's basically a lock. At 2, it gets a little more interesting, obviously. At 2, you have the Browns looking at Travis Hunter. And Travis Hunter, it seems like, is going to go 2. Mm-hmm. So then the Giants are on the clock now.
Do you like, before we get to the Giants, do you like that for the Browns, if they go Travis Hunter, him being the potential two-way player? Do you think he even plays 2 ways for the Browns? They seem to like him more at receiver.
Well, on Travis Hunter, I'll say this. I love him as a receiver. And I think, as a wide receiver, I think he is wide receiver 1 in this class. And I don't even think it's close. So Travis Hunter as wide receiver 1 for me, and I think he's clearly better as a wide receiver than he is a corner. However, he can play corner. So it's going to be interesting to see Cleveland, if they bring in Travis Hunter, if they're going to play him at corner. I think they're going to look at him as a receiver more than they are a corner, but I think they're going to try him out at both. Now, there's been speculation the last couple hours that Jacksonville is looking to move up to 2.
Yep.
So they apparently want Travis Hunter, and I think with their quarterback there and Trevor Lawrence, I think Travis Hunter would be a perfect complement for him on the outside, and also might give them some value on defense, which Jacksonville's obviously looking to upgrade and with this draft. So we'll see. I think the draft starts at 3, though. I think it's going to go Cam Ward 1, Tennessee. Then you're going to have Travis Hunter going to Cleveland. And then we got our G-men, or your G-men.
I'm not a Giants fan, but yeah.
What fan are you again?
I'm a Steelers fan.
That's right. That's why you're wearing the colors now. Makes sense. All right. I always think you as a Giants fan.
No, I'm not a Giants fan.
You're unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, let me
you're
ask
like
you
Stephen A. You're a Steelers fan. It's
I guess so. Let me ask you, what a lot of the talk with the Giants at 3, right? We're really going to dive into this, I'm sure, when Paul Schwartz joins us. A lot of the talk is, should they take a quarterback? It's just Shedeur Sanders question. I've been wildly shocked at how much his stock has dropped in terms of the way people talk about him.
Yeah.
And I wonder if people might regret some of this with Shedeur. I wondered it. You're not high on Shedeur. I know.
I think you might be asking the wrong person.
Yeah, well, tell the people why are you not high on Shedeur, and why should the Giants not take him at 3?
All right, so first off, I think Shedeur needs to go to a team that actually has a really good offensive line and a coaching staff that'll develop him offensively for the next 2 or 3 years. I don't know if the Giants have that. Daboll, I think, would make sense for Shedeur, for sure, just like he did with Josh Allen. He helped develop Josh. I don't see Daboll necessarily being a long-term answer there. And he's the head coach. He's not the OC or the quarterback's coach. So the support kind of is a little different when you're talking about the head coach versus an OC or a quarterback's room. I looked at Shedeur's pro day. I don't love the arm. I don't. And if you're going to if your game's going to be predicated on your arm, you need a really good arm. And I think some of the balls get away from him. He throws some ducks, doesn't have much scramble ability. Had Travis Hunter and some other pieces there, Jimmy Horn Jr. and Wester there in Colorado that I thought were really good. And Travis Hunter, as I said, I think is wide receiver 1. I think Shedeur depended too much on those guys to kind of bail him out at times. The scramble ability is not there. And I hate bringing up, I don't want to say the personality, but I think the confidence, I think he's going too far. I
love his confidence.
I don't know if he's really that guy. I love Deion's confidence. I think Deion's that guy. Deion walks in a room, you really you look at him. Not saying I ever saw Deion or Shedeur in a room, but Shedeur to me is overdoing it. He's pretending too much to be someone that I don't really think he is. And I love confidence. And
I do too. I'm very
people
high.
are like, oh, be swaggy, be arrogant. It's good. I get that. And I'm not, people are like, oh, you're afraid of arrogance. I'm like, oh, confidence. I'm like, no, I'm not. There's just a point where it's annoying to me in a sense of you're lying. You're not that guy. I kind of read through him in my eyes a little bit and not saying it's true. And I think teams are seeing that. And teams have said they've had him in, and it's just not comfortable. Something's off.
Listen, look, a lot is done in these interviews and how you feel about these players. And, now we're seeing Tennessee. They are on the clock. Who has the first overall pick? We pretty much know is going to be Cam Ward. Is here. Also, shout out to everybody watching on YouTube. I see Jets Nation NYC. I see you. My daughter is here, Simone Henry. What's up, Simi? How you doing? And she said Steelers. Yeah,
she's a Steelers fan too.
She knows how we do it in the house. She knows. She knows what's going on. Cam Ward to the Titans. I see. I need to know whether I should sell my Giant season tickets after all these years. Danielle Needhard. Danielle, I hope I did not mess up your last name. They need all the help they can get. No, we know what you meant. We understood. I think when I talk to Giants fans, and we talked to Brandon London, who works here and is very plugged in with the Giants. A lot of them are like, man, I want the quarterback.
They need a quarterback.
And I talked to Paul Schwartz about this maybe about a month ago. Paul Schwartz, look, the Giants want to find a quarterback in this draft. I'm not saying it's going to be Shedeur Sanders, but they want to take a quarterback in this draft. They want to take a quarterback in this draft. I think they should take the quarterback in this draft. I just think, who is that quarterback?
Well, what I think could happen is the Giants, and we were talking about this before the show, the Giants might trade back up into the first round, and maybe they give up their second next year, or they give up their second this year and a future second, however, it looks as a package. They might trade up at the end of the first round to get Jackson Dart or Shedeur Sanders and get that fifth-year option. That is really key.
That's the value in that of with the first-round picks. Right?
For sure. I mean, you look at that's a big reason why Lamar Jackson was picked as the last pick of the first round by Baltimore, to get that extra year. And for Shedeur, I think it's crucial for him to develop for an extra year. I think an offense needs to bring him in and have him sit for a year or two. In my opinion, he, as we're looking right now on the screen, he likes to improvise a little bit too much, and I'm not sure the ball takes a little bit long to get there, and the competition he played against was not there. That's going to be tough.
I always think that's a fair critique of his game. The thing I wonder about that is, you saw year one of him in Colorado behind a atrocious offensive line. Offensive line play was a little bit better in year two. But I wonder, to the point you made earlier, if he gets in the right system with the right development, good offensive line, I think his improvisation tools could be a strength of his, where he's not the most athletic quarterback. We know this, but he can make good enough throws So I like some things from Shedeur Sanders. I kind of agree with you, though, as a lot of quarterbacks, sometimes it's just about fit, getting into the right system. They got to get into the right place, and I wonder if they can. Knicks take the lead here for the people trying to watch both. They go back up. I just saw P.J. Tucker clapping. No, he's not in the game, folks. P.J. Tucker is not in the game. Anybody, if you have questions for myself or Frankie, please let us know. Danielle, you are welcome for me acknowledging your comment. Everybody's comments
what
are
a nice
very
guy
important.
you are. Unbelievable.
I try to be nice, man. Listen, hey, look, people want their dreams to come true for their team tonight. They want dreams to come true. They are not trying to have a negative night. So we appreciate you guys rocking with me and Frankie. We're going to try to have a good time. Watch the draft. We're going to talk a little bit about it. It should be fun.
Look at the Titans here milking the clock. They're putting everyone on edge.
Can I say something about the NFL draft? Could we get rid of 10 minutes? We don't need 10 minutes between these picks, right? And let's ask the people. I want to know from the people watching, because I talked to you about this before we started going live. Who would go? Does anybody want to go to the draft? I know we have a lot of diehard football fans here, but would you be out here in Green Bay right now? I know next year is going to be in Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh, second home, went to school there, all that stuff. I'm not standing out there to watch these picks. What are we doing?
I told you I went to Kansas City.
And you said it was good.
It was good, but if you're going there and you're not into standing around in a crowd of, in a pool of, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, it seems like I'm with you there. I think going to the draft's a little overrated. Going to the city's cool. You go to Kansas City, you want to see Green Bay, that makes sense. But going there to engage, or if you're doing media stuff, I mean, there's not much there.
Not much.
We were talking about how the combine's so much better than the draft in that regard, just having access
and being able to talk to people and network in the league. I agree. Titans pick is now in. We know it's going to be Cam Ward, unless
it's going to be Shedeur Sanders.
That would be a stud.
You know what's interesting about Shedeur, though? Shedeur was rumored at a point to be in the running to be the number one pick.
He was.
This is obviously a few months ago, if not 3 or 4 months ago. Things change, and I think Cam Ward, looking at his play style, the way he plays the game, he really makes something out of nothing. He had less to work with than most quarterbacks. He has an awareness to him in the pocket and a confidence to him that he can get the ball out at multiple angles. He can make plays. When everything's broken down, Cam Ward will bail you out with his ability. They had some pieces there. They had Elijah Arroyo, who's projected to be a day 2 tight end. They have Restrepo, also kind of fell because he had a slow 40 time. Couple other pieces, but nothing crazy. He didn't have Travis Hunter. He didn't have what Jackson Dart had in Trey Harris, who's one of my favorite players. I had a tweet earlier, my favorite 15 players on offense and defense, and Trey Harris made that list. And I put a lot of time into that. Not that anyone really cares.
We care.
All right, the pick is in.
I'll be stunned. You think that this is, with all that being said about Cam Ward, this is the right pick for the Titans?
Wow, some news dropped.
What we got?
Some news dropped. What I told you guys earlier in the show.
Jacksonville?
The second pick apparently has been traded.
Wow. We got to be on it. The pick is being made right now. That's very interesting. Second pick's traded. I'll get to that in 1 second. Just to make sure Commissioner Roger Goodell doesn't fake us out. It is Cam Ward to Miami. We expected that.
The minus 20,000 odd bettors have cashed in.
Yeah. If you're putting money on the number one pick in this draft, you gotta get some help.
Oh yeah,
we gotta get you some help. Okay.
So the second pick has been traded.
Give us the deets.
I believe Jordan Schultz was first on it. I'm not going to try to break things early, but I just saw it, and I've been.
Well, this is relevant because Browns are on the clock now.
Jacksonville has traded the 5th overall pick with Cleveland, and they've jumped up to 2. What the compensation is, nobody knows. But the Jacksonville Jaguars are currently on the clock, and it seems like they're going to get Travis Hunter.
This is a very interesting move. Also for the Browns, they're probably going to get some more picks and moving back down.
The Browns get 5. This year's 5, Jacksonville's pick. They get 36 this year. They get 126, so they get Jacksonville's first, second
and third,
and fourth. And then a 2026 first round pick. Jacksonville gave up all that to move up to 2.
That was a steep price there.
Yeah, that's how
a
much
hefty price. And the Giants wanted to move up because Giants fans are going to say,
that's a hefty
they
price,
wanted to
man.
move up. Now, I think that will matter if the Giants want to move up on who they wanted to take. Now, if they are going to take Travis Hunter, that would leave you think the Giants are going to get Abdul Carter here.
You would think so.
The edge rusher from Penn State. Which I think is a fine. We'll get into this more too, but I think it's a fine.
Yeah, the Giants do have 2 edges though already on their roster. They have Brian Burns and they have Kayvon Thibodeaux. But so
Giants,
but it's interchangeable.
Giants fans know this.
No,
you can never have enough pass
I
rushers.
agree with you.
You can never not have enough pass rushers, right?
That makes you think though. Are they going to look at maybe moving Kayvon? There's been rumors about that. He wants obviously a new deal at some point. So it'll be interesting.
Even so, having that depth could not be bad. So now we know the Jaguars are on the clock here. Want to get to some of the comments in here. Hipster Genius said, I think there's a real chance, that Jackson Dart could be QB2 off the board before Sanders. That would be interesting if that happens. Danielle Neidhart said, I thought the Giants hired Russell as a new quarterback. They did. That I think he's going to be the starter. But I still think they're looking for the quarterback of the future. Nicholas Frederico, what up, Nick? Says Tyler Warren has to be a Jet tonight. You're the Jet fan. Does he have to be a Jet tonight? Like, does Tyler Warren? Another Penn State. Look, and you know me, I'm a University of Pittsburgh guy. I got no love for Penn State. Does he have to be a Jet? Do you want the Jets to go? Because the Jets thing is interesting. We'll get into this more. Tight end for the Jets. Obviously, you can get a playmaker there. Helps Garrett Wilson. Or protect Justin Fields and get some help on that O-line, particularly at right tackle if possible.
The Jets haven't had a tight end make the Pro Bowl since the year I was born, 1988.
Jeez.
That is how far back we've gone. And we've drafted a ton of tight ends in the first round throughout our history. We're at the top of the league in terms of drafting tight ends in the first round. The Jets cannot get tight end right. Dustin Keller in the last 20, 25 years was our best tight end.
This is probably true.
Good tight end. He wasn't a bad player. Jets have struck out with tight ends so much. The good thing about Warren is how high his floor is. Getting Warren here, he will give you tight end 1 production. And the Jets just don't have that anywhere.
You're with Nick on this. They got to get Warren?
They got to get Warren.
Okay.
Listen, if Will Campbell falls to 7, I like Will Campbell that much that I would take him.
He's that high on your board.
Yeah, because I think he'd be like an exceptional right tackle. Like if you want to go the tackle route, lock it down where your tackles are so good that you can have me and you playing quarterback because we'll have 5 to 10 seconds back there.
Yeah.
I don't know if Armand Membu or
yes.
Kelvin Banks Jr. gives you that. And I think they'd both be good picks. Armand Membu's a very, very good right tackle, but they got to help out.
Yeah.
You got to help out Garrett. We don't have a tight end. We have Jeremy Ruckert. He didn't score a touchdown last year.
That ain't gonna get
Stone Smart has the most career receiving yards, I think, on the Jets right now as a tight end. No one even knows who that is besides Jet fans. All
right, so Jags pick is in here, folks. Looks like the Jags will get.
That's a haul, dude. That's a lot.
What the Jags got, right? It's crazy. It's crazy what they got. We're looking at the details right now here, what the Jags got.
I have music in here, by the way. So
so you're good. You're hearing that because we got the graphic up right now. You can see what the Browns received here and what the Jaguars received going back.
I can't believe that. You know what? I can't believe they gave up next year's first.
That's the thing for me. The fact that they gave up next year's first. But hey, if you're under pressure and you're holding all the cards and you're like, hey, you want this bad? Like if I'm trading,
you don't think that trade?
I think it's steep. I think it's steep. I'm with you.
I think it's very steep.
I think it's very steep. But what I'm saying is, he who holds all the cards in the Browns in this situation, they're like, look, you want to play, you got to pay to play.
Yeah,
I mean, what I'm saying?
This also tells me. Because the trade doesn't happen like this with this amount of I'm curious as to what the points are, but a trade this steep for a team to move up from 5 to 2 usually doesn't happen if it's not a quarterback. So this tells me maybe they're going to play him both ways. He's not only going to play offense, he's going to play defense.
He wants to.
He does. And maybe Jacksonville is saying to themselves, let's do it. If he plays both ways and he gives you value, either defensively, if he's playing mostly offense, or offensively, if he's playing mostly defense, it makes sense to give that up. But that's a stretch in and of itself. But hey, what do we know?
I mean, you got to get right at that. It is a lot playing both ways. What is, we got the 5th overall pick, 36th overall pick, 136th overall pick. A lot that they're giving up there. That's a plus next year's first round pick.
Yeah. I'm watching these fans, by the way, and just thinking about you being there. I was like, you would hate it.
Oh, please. No.
I'm thinking about these fans like you would.
Yeah. God. The pick is in. I'm looking a little bit back over here. We got 2 TVs on it here. Look, the Knicks now have a 9-point lead over Detroit, 59-50 with 1:42 to go before halftime. The Knicks played a really good first half here in terms of defense and just being better with moving the ball.
Pick is in.
Pick is in here. What if they didn't?
I'd be shocked, but
I'd be
the NFL world is a crazy place.
It is a crazy place. You talked about how that trade happened and what Travis Hunter might do if you would play both ways, because it is a steep price. But also, I wonder in the essence of the trade, right? Like, this kind of got leaked early. The talks were out there, and you wonder which side wanted to put that out. But then it comes down to the end. This seems like a trade that came down to the final minutes, where Cleveland probably picked up the phone and was like, "Hey, what do you want to do?"
Yeah,
and this is the price.
Well, about 4 or 5 hours ago, about midday ish. There was a rumor that this was happening.
Yeah.
That Jacksonville was talking with Cleveland to trade up to 2. Listen, I think Cleveland, I'm a little surprised because Myles Garrett not wanting to return to Cleveland and wanting, quote unquote, like a situation where he's in a win now window.
Well, until he got the bag.
Yeah, true. But he was saying at that point, he was like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I want to have like some sort of, plan in place that I'm convinced could lead to winning. So I thought maybe at 2, they were looking at Shedeur or Abdul Carter to tell Myles, hey, we're going to get you help either with the quarterback or we're going to get you help with another edge. Doesn't seem like that's the case.
Well,
the money spoke there.
Well, the money spoke, one, and then maybe they sold them on the fact that we'll try to shop this pick and get more picks.
True.
To give ourselves a better chance to acquire more talent in the future. There's 2 ways of looking at it.
You're right, yeah.
Which is really interesting. Also, here, we got a lot of people in the chat. Appreciate all of you. Danielle, again, said, in my opinion, the Giants need to start firing people from the top down. Danielle wants people out of here. And beside a new quarterback, I think we need a new and effective players all around. As this pick is in, and it is Travis Hunter,
and
as we expected.
Adam Schefter just said the Jaguars are expected to play Travis Hunter
both ways
on offense and defense.
They told me.
Yep, of course. You're not going to give up that price to play a guy as just a corner or a receiver. By the way, this guy's the best receiver in the draft. And if Travis Hunter came out in last year's draft, and last year's draft was stacked at receiver, we all remember, right? He'd be in my top 2 or top 3 receivers last year's draft also. I'd be a little worried about playing him both ways.
Yep. Especially when you look at his numbers, how great he was.
But
I worry about that too.
Yeah.
Because he
loves football. Look at him. He loves it. He's going to be awesome. This guy's going to be, if he stays healthy, he's going to be a Hall of Fame caliber player. He's a blue chip player. He is the best player in this draft, in my opinion.
Can you keep him healthy?
That's a big question.
Both ways.
I would lean no, like in that regard. Not saying he'll get hurt, but like you're really putting that risk out there at like too close for comfort level for me. But they might try him out, and maybe. What do we know? But Jacksonville got a really, really good player. I know a lot of Jacksonville fans online that I communicate with, and some people out there in Jacksonville, and they're very happy with this.
They should be happy with it. So now we know the Giants are now on the clock. So there's a big local tie for us here. Giants on the clock. Paul Schwartz will be joining us. Paul is actually here with us. So Paul is not here with us. He'll be here with us in a second. Paul Schwartz, the beat writer for the New York Post covering the Giants, he will be joining us shortly here. So this will be very interesting to see what the Giants do with this pick. Some people want quarterbacks. Let us know what you want in the chat. Do you want the Giants to take a QB here? Danielle wants the Giants to fire people. Hipster Genius says, if the Steelers take Sanders at 21, what does that mean for them signing Aaron Rodgers? Do you think he'll sign? I hope Aaron Rodgers is nowhere near the Pittsburgh Steelers. I will keep it at that. Anybody know where
that's a fluid? That's a very fluid situation, Dexter.
I want him nowhere near the Steelers. I think he's cooked.
He's got another year
of what? Standing as a statue? Nah, I'm good.
He's got another. He'll give you 3,624 touchdowns.
His stats were so inflated last year. A lot of it was in garbage time. You watched it. You were a Jets fan. You watch it. I saw the misery. I saw the misery for you every week. I don't need that. No.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I do not want any part to the Aaron Rodgers experience. I'm good.
Listen, Mike Tomlin has had some issues finding a quarterback.
Absolutely.
That's been his, that's been his kryptonite. So, he better figure that situation out. The only good thing Rodgers does for you is it gives you another year to figure it out. I don't know where they're going to go quarterback in this draft. I like a ton of guys late. I actually love some players late on day 3 or, in the second round of this draft. I don't know if Tomlin, second or third round, day 2, I don't know if Tomlin has that confidence in any of these guys late. So bring Rodgers in, you get another year, buffer year.
And now the Giants pick is in. It does give them another year. I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad if they took Shedeur at 21. It wouldn't be mad.
All right, who do you think the Giants are drafting?
I think it's Abdul Carter. I think it's Abdul Carter. I think you can never have enough pass rushers. I think the Giants have seen in their very recent history of winning that pass rushers can help them. And when I say recent, I mean the last couple Super Bowls they won. That can absolutely help them. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and Burns too. Brian Burns is a flexible option on the defensive side, meaning like he doesn't necessarily need to play a traditional edge. He can play some outside linebacker. You could even put him as like an inside linebacker in certain sets. You could blitz him all over the place. So Brian Burns you could have hypothetically Brian Burns, Kayvon, Thibodeaux, and Abdul Carter. And that's scary to think about.
It is. It is scary for quarterbacks to think about.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go right now to Paul Schwartz, who is joining us here to talk to the Giants on the clock. Paul, are you with us? Paul, do we have you? All right, no Paul right now. We'll see if we get Paul after the pick is made because the Giants pick is in. I don't think this was a hard pick for the Giants here. Danielle said, "Am I the only woman in here?" Story of my life when it comes to sports. I hope not, Danielle. I hope we have some other ladies in here with you. We hope not. Although we greatly appreciate you being in here.
Yeah, we do.
Hipster Genius, who's in here. Do you think the Jets will take Warren because they missed out on Brock Bowers last year in the draft and not because he feels a need? Hipster Genius also added, for once, the Browns did the fleecing instead of getting fleeced like they have in the past. Seems like that, but they're also still the Browns. I think you should wait and see how that plays out. Jags fans love this pick now, but when he tweaks a hamstring,
I want to answer that question, by the way, after Schwartz comes on, after Peter comes on.
That was a good question. I do want to hear it. We do have another lady checking in, the wonderful Emma Kate Austin and Samantha Antona. So 3 ladies up in here for the NFL draft party. You are not alone, Danielle. Ladies representing here. So we like that. Pick is coming in here for the Giants. Let's see what the Giants do here. Abdul Carter, it is. Not much suspense here. I think it's the right move for the Giants.
He's got a nice fit on. I like that.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I didn't like the first 2.
I like those shades. I like those.
You like the shades?
Yeah.
What's the chain he
has on? I wonder what Paul Schwartz thinks about this fit right here. Curious.
I think you could pull that fit off. All right, we have Paul Schwartz with us. He is here, the great beat writer for the New York Post covering the Giants. Paul, you rocking with us?
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
I can hear you and see you, Paul. You are fine. How you doing, sir?
Good. Yeah, Abdul Carter, no surprise. Giants loved him. They wanted to trade up to get Cam Ward. They tried as recently as today to go up. Gave up. Would have given up next year's first round pick. No go. The Titans were set. So as far as the Browns and Jaguars making the trade, really didn't affect the Giants at all because Abdul. Travis Hunter was going to go number 2 to the Browns or to the Jaguars. So Giants got the guy they want. Clearly, they did not think Shedeur Sanders was worth the number 3 pick. We'll see if they try to trade up into the first round to get him. But they love Abdul Carter. They get a plug-and-play guy, best pass rusher in the draft. A lot of people think the best player in the draft. So we'll see. Easy pick for the Giants.
Paul, what do you think of Abdul Carter's fit that he has on for the draft? I feel like you could pull this off.
I saw it. It's that long. Yeah, I mean, I probably could not. I think you need a tall and thin person for that.
He's right.
I am not tall and not quite as built as Abdul Carter. Yeah. No, I mean, he's the classic edge rusher at the top of the draft. I was told he'd be a top 5 pick in basically any draft you could think of. So,
Paul, let me ask you one quick question. What do you think of this stress fracture injury
the
that
Giants
Abdul Carter has?
What did they? The Giants checked it all out. He doesn't need surgery. Obviously, this was not a secret. They saw MRIs, they saw X-rays. The Giants don't think it's a factor because they took him at number 3. So I think it's pretty much healed by now anyway.
Okay, so they're feeling good about that. Paul, do you think it's likely that the Giants try to trade back up into the first round? I know you're waiting to see on that, but are the Giants going to try to do that to see if there's a quarterback they like late that they could possibly do that?
I don't know about likely. I think it's definitely possible. Now, the Browns making this trade, the Browns have a lot of ammunition now, right? They have pick number 33 and 36. So they have more ammunition now than the Giants do to go make a trade up into the first round and get a quarterback. I think that's what they want to do. The Giants this morning told me that they thought that the Browns would try to get a quarterback. I don't think the Giants are going to mortgage their farm to get a quarterback. There are definitely guys they like. I think they would definitely trade up into the first round if they could get Shedeur Sanders. They didn't think he was the value pick at 3. I think if they could get him in the mid to late first round, I think they would do that. I'm not sure about Jackson Dart at this point or Jalen Milroe. I just don't know. I mean, there's a lot of speculation that Brian Daboll likes Jackson Dart. There's a lot to like, but he was not the number 3 pick in the draft. So basically the Giants are looking at this and saying, we don't think we need to draft a quarterback to play this year. We have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. So, and I think other than Cam Ward, the Giants looked at this draft class and said, we don't think any of these guys really is capable of playing right away. They need time to wait and mature and kind of learn the ropes. So if they do that, one of these guys, they would have the luxury of that because they got 2 veterans on the team already.
No, it's good to see. Look, could happen. We'll see what they do. And if the Giants do address quarterback later on in this draft. That is Paul Schwartz, a great beat reporter for the New York Post. Paul, appreciate the time. Next time I see you, you got to have that Abdul Carter fit on. I got to make sure you get a fit of that. Somebody's got to get that.
I like the Travis Hunter pink. I think looks better on me.
Okay.
Pink. Yeah.
All right. I can. We can go with that. We'll have to see if that can happen. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you, man.
Okay. Thanks guys. Take it easy.
All right. Now that is Paul Schwartz, as I said, for the New York Post joining us. Remember, we have Brian Costello who will be joining us during the Jets pick at number 7. Now joining us is part of the New York Post family. My guy Brandon London. He is out at the Giants watch party at MetLife. Brandon, what's up?
Yo, can you guys hear me?
I hear you, Brandon. We got you, man.
Look at this guy, Hollywood.
Make sure you guys can hear me.
You sound like you lost your voice already.
Bro, I've been on stage the entire time getting this crowd hype. Myself and Bart Scott have been getting 2 of the best franchises, most enthusiastic franchises. So hyped for the pick. When you saw Travis Hunter go at 2, you saw a lot of Giant fans kind of get not so much upset. They were just a little nervous. But then when you heard Abdul Carter's name, this place went absolutely wild. Dexter, our social media producer, Olivia, she caught it. She's going to send that in. Can't wait till you guys see the reaction to the pick. But Travis Hunter going number 2 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Thank you, Liam Cohen, my college quarterback from UMass. A lot of fans are saying thank you because it made the Giants not have to pick on who they were going to want at 3. Abdul Carter's name is in. I've said it a million times. Frankie, you heard me. They don't know what they're going to do with Kayvon Thibodeaux when it comes to the 5th-year option. Aziz Ojulari, who had production here, but was limited because of the fact that he was injured a lot, has signed a free agency with the Philadelphia Eagles. Look at the Eagles' defensive line. Look at the Commanders' defensive line. And you can even look at the Dallas Cowboys' defensive line. If you're going to compete in the NFC and the NFC East, You need to have pass rushers on pass rushers on pass rushers. And that's exactly what Joe Shane did. You saw them excited about the pick. Giants fans were excited about the pick. You guys let me know when I need to move the camera to get some fans over here, because I'm sure you guys got questions.
I like that you like the pick too, Brandon. I feel like somebody's got to get you some tea as well too. We got to get you some tea out there. Do you think, let me ask you this, because I just talked about this with Paul Schwartz when he was on. Do you think the Giants still need to go and get a quarterback in this draft? Do they still need to do that?
They don't have to, Dexter. And it's not just grabbing a quarterback. It's grabbing the quarterback that you've identified that, one, you can either work with to groom to be ready to play within the first 6 to 8 games, or you grab a quarterback that you think can come in and push Russell Wilson to start right away. That's the thing. Here's what I don't like, or what I got tired about, or what I get tired about when it comes to mock drafts and ESPNs and NFL networks. We all have a job to do in the media. We have to create buzz. But I was tired of hearing the same names over and over and over again. So now if you're the New York Football Giants, you got the pass rush the pass rusher, edge rusher of your future. If they're in the quarterback, that through the workouts, through the scouting, being there at their practices, being there, being hands-on, sitting there in a room with the guy, to where if you're Brian Gable, you're like, yo, this kid has confidence. This kid has moxie. This kid, I can groom him to be not so much the next Josh Allen. I can be him to be the first him. Then you take him. You trade back up and take him. Whether you see him in the second round, Frankie and Dexter, I don't want to see them get into the third, fourth round and then feel obligated to grab a quarterback. Because outside of Russell Wilson, Tom Brady's and all, when do third through seventh round quarterbacks work out? They get drafted to be backups. So if you're talking about a regime who already brought in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, they did that for a reason. So they don't have to grab a quarterback per se, if that makes sense. So do they trade back in? They could, but with them going and grabbing Abdul Carter, that goes to show that they've been paying a lot of attention to the defense. One of the top defenses or defensive lines at first, but on the back end, the secondary was weak. You brought in Javon Holland, Paulson, and Debo. Now you have Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeaux, Brian Burns, and Dexter Lawrence to get after the quarterback. I feel like they're going to go another interior D lineman as well.
Well, I'm going to say this. Brandon, what's going on, dude? Looks like you're having some fun there. I don't know why you didn't invite me out there. You know I'd be out there in a second. Actually, no, I wouldn't. But, dude, Will Campbell just went. So Will Campbell, the Patriots just got him 4th overall. I'll say this. You can never go wrong getting a quality left tackle or a quality edge rusher. So going back to the Giants, that wins in football. You keep your quarterback upright, or on the opposite side, you put a quarterback on their back. That is the biggest cheat code in football.
Yes.
Get the quarterback upright for the offense, keep him upright, or put him on the ground for the defense. That's a cheat code.
I got
we're smart.
I got 2-time Super Bowl champ, former Giants linebacker Jonathan Costello here with me. You jumping on with the New York Post Sports. I got my boy JT here, Dexter Lawrence, Frankie V over there in studio. What do you think of the pick, Abdul Carter at 3?
I was a little nervous when Jacksonville made their move, to be honest, because I thought they might get Abdul. I think it's a great pick. The Giants, over history, the Giants have been led by a dominant pass rush. Yeah. That's a fact.
Yeah.
And now they're going to add another piece to that puzzle. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeaux. I love the pick. Love it.
So if you are a Brian Burns, you're a Paulson and Debo, what does this pick say about what they're trying to do with the defense?
Oh, we're trying to win championships.
Okay.
Defense win championships. That's why you get a guy like Abdul Carter at pick number 3.
Jackson, Frankie, you got any questions for JC?
You guys know how defense is, man. The Giants, like you guys are saying, they won that way. They want to bring that way back. I'm curious, Kayvon's got to have a big year, though, because that'll give them flexibility. If they want to keep him, if they want to move him, Kayvon, things will open up for him this year if he can develop. He just got to take another step forward. Yeah. Nothing crazy.
I'm going to ask JT about that, Frankie. I'm going to ask JT. Jonathan Costello here, two-time Super Bowl champ, former Giants linebacker. Frankie's asking, what does this do, or this pick do for Kayvon Thibodeaux?
That's a good question. That answer, I don't know, to be honest. I think there's a lot of different things that can happen. Does he become a little bit expendable? Possibly so. Can he become a cog in the defense that rotates in? Absolutely. I would think that's the way to go. But other people might think that he might be expendable. Maybe you could trade him to get some value back for him. For me, I want to keep him. Because when the Giants defense has been dominant, it's not been 1-2 pass rushes. It's been multiple pass rushes. And you look at what the Eagles are doing. When they've been playing good defense, they got 3-4 guys that are rushing the passer. I think that's the way to do it, especially how the game is played right now.
And that's what I told the guys, because Azeez Ojulari just left in free agency to go to the Eagles. You're losing one of your top pass rushers on the team, so you have to keep up Kayvon Thibodeaux. So let's say they keep Kayvon. Does this motivate the player even more to go out and have a great year?
I understand your question, as they've always said, right? It better. It better. You know, you played in the league, I played in the league. When they brought in somebody at my position, never got jealous. For me, it was like, all right, I got to be on top of my job. For me, I made best friends with my competition. Literally everywhere I went, the person that I had to beat out, or they were trying to beat me out, they were my best friends. JT Thomas, Watson, like even John Vilma, you know what I mean? Like all those guys, you got to bring them close because they will make you better.
Hey fellas, I made friends with my competition too, but I got released, so I ain't see him much after all that.
Brandon, you ain't got to put your business out there like that. Brandon ain't got
a question. Frank,
I do have one question before we go, Brandon. With the fans being excited about the pick, obviously you like the pick, but how does he feel about the Giants quarterback situation? And is there a young quarterback he thinks that could be groomed in this draft by Russell Wilson? Does he think there's a quarterback in this draft?
Dexter asked, we all love the pick. Fans love the pick, but a lot of people are still waiting to see what the Giants are going to do at quarterback. Do you feel as though they're going to trade back up, grab a guy, or is there a guy they feel like they can get in a later round where Russell Wilson can kind of groom to take over in future years?
Look, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big college football guy, you know, but I do know about Shedeur Sanders. If I did watch a couple games, it was a couple Colorado games. But I've been hearing great things about Jackson Dart as well. You know, Cam Ward is off the board, and those are the other two guys that could potentially, the Giants could possibly sneak back into the first round and get one of those guys. I don't know their tape. I know Shedeur is a winner, though. I know he's from elite,
Pedigree.
Oh, man. Shedeur Sanders is one of the greatest athletes, not just in football, in any sport. And he comes from that pedigree. I think he can handle this circus of the New York media. I think he can take it in stride. I would love if the Giants could come back in and probably grab the door. If he's still around. I hope not, because I want him to have success.
Hey, fellas, I'm going to give him a little pushback here because it sounds like he's been watching TV, not watching tape. There are others. There's Cal McCord. There's Will Howard. There are other quarterbacks in here. Why Shedeur? Why Shedeur?
Shedeur's a winner. No offense against Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones wasn't a winner. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like he was a guy that, no matter what's going on, you can rely on him to win games. I think Shedeur is that guy. Does he possess the talent as Daniel Jones? He doesn't. Daniel Jones had an arm. Daniel Jones could run. But I think he has those uncanny intangibles that would take a quarterback to a next level, a team to a next level with a quarterback that can be great for 15 years. Maybe he's not going to run a 4.5. Maybe he's not going to throw the ball 70 yards, but he's going to be accurate. He's going to be able to have pressure and still be able to throw the ball down the field. I don't know if there's another guy in the draft. Mind you, I am listening to what they're saying. I don't watch college. But from what I'm hearing, I think he checks those boxes. And the potential might not be there to be a Patrick Mahomes, but to be a Kirk Cousins, to be even, I don't know if compare anybody to Drew Brees, but Drew Brees didn't have a strong arm. Drew Brees wasn't a great athlete, but he's one of the greatest quarterbacks you ever seen, and he was 5'11".
Fellas, I want to ask him one more question. Defensively, on the defensive side of the ball, let's say you got a veteran at the starter, but then that team, your team has drafted
Brandon, keep it quick because we got to. Brandon, just keep it quick because we got to wrap this up. We got to get back.
Let's say they draft a young quarterback. What do you guys need to see on the defensive side of the ball from that young quarterback to advocate for him to be the starter?
On the defensive side of the ball?
And we got to be quick.
Right. Run circles around us at practice because everything's shifting, right? You know where you're going with the ball. If you know where you're going with the ball and you kind of know what the defense is in, you should torch them.
All right. Hey, John, two-time Super Bowl champ, former Giants linebacker, Jonathan Costello. Appreciate you hanging out with us, my man. All right, now we're waiting for that Jets pick, fellas.
Yep, waiting for that Jets pick. Brandon, thank you. We'll bring it back to you in a second. Joining us now, we have the great Jets beat writer for the New York Post. It's my guy, Brian Costello, who is here. Brian, what's going on?
Just waiting for this pick, guys.
Well, I know you're waiting for the pick. You can't. This is one of your favorite days of the year. You can't wait for this to be over, Brian. I know you can't wait for this to be over. You just wanted to be. What? Yeah. What do you think the Jets are looking at 7? Because we talked about tight end. Tyler Warren is in play. You talked about offensive line. If can this team protect Justin Fields? What do you think the Jets are going to do here at 7?
Yeah, I've been leaning tackle guys, but I mean, it could go either way. I'd be shocked if it's not one of the 3 guys right now. If it's not Bamboo, Banks, or Warren, I'd be surprised. But, you know, it could go any of those directions, I think. To me, I think it's harder to find a tackle outside of the first round. That's why I lean that way. I think you can probably get a tight end in the second round or through a trade. Just checking here. Nope. So, you know, that's why I've been leaning tackle for a little while now.
Is there one tackle you like better than the of the offensive line that you like better than the others? Is Membu the guy for you that if he's there? Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend like I know these guys. You know, I can evaluate off tackles from college, but just from kind of everything I've heard and read, I feels like Membu is the guy who has more upside. But you know, the Texas tackle was really highly rated all season and then kind of dropped down, which is a little bit weird. One of those draft things, and Membu has just kind of risen up the ranks among the draft gurus. We don't know what the teams actually think and what the Jets think, but we're going to find out here soon, I guess.
Kaz, let me ask you something. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, Frankie.
Hey, so let's talk just generally speaking with this draft. Do you think, I know a lot of Jet fans were actually happy that Cleveland ended up taking Mason Graham at 5, because me being one of those fans, I was a little nervous we were going to go defense. We still may. Yeah. It's not possible. But do you think the Jets are gonna look at the defensive side of the ball throughout the course of this draft? Maybe not at 7, but Aaron Glenn obviously being a former corner. Yeah. Like, what do you think there?
They still need a defensive lineman, in my opinion.
Definitely.
You know, and I think they probably could use some help at safety. I think they could use an edge rusher, you know, for some depth.
Yeah.
You know, are we tipping picks, guys?
Sure. Go right ahead.
It's Membu.
There you go. Well, how you feeling?
Man. Well, we had this debate. We had a conversation live, you know, with Brandon. Listen, Membu's a high floor right tackle. He is going to be a very good right tackle in this league, no doubt about it. I have no bust alert on him at all.
Right.
I wanted the flashy tight end. I wanted Tyler Warren, man.
You did.
We haven't had a tight end make the Pro Bowl since 1988. I know I say that every time, but I mean, I don't not like the pick. I'm not going to be a jerk fan and just
don't be that. Don't be that.
I'm not going to be that person.
Like, here's the reality. The reality too, Frankie. Right? Like, you can react. Or I understand it as a fan. You're going to react to this. The truth is, we won't know how good this pick is for 2 years, 3 years, right?
Yeah,
you know, I mean, I'm sure
something like that.
I'm sure there's a pick in the past that you loved, Frankie, that didn't work out. I could see you with your Calvin Pryor jersey on, or your
not that jersey. I had some other ones.
D. Milner, or you know, Sam Darnold, or you know, you don't know. Like, I'm
Zach
sure there's picks
Zach Wilson jersey.
I did like Duran Lee. I'll say
picks
that.
you might have hated that worked out. So,
and I like Christian Hackenberg also, but don't tell
that's
anybody.
That's the tricky part of the draft. And, these draft grades and all that stuff is like it's all kind of silly right now.
Do you think this was the right pick for the Jets, Brian?
Yeah, and again, like I'm saying, I don't know how it'll turn out, but logic, right? I grade on logic with the draft, Dexter.
Right.
So logically, yes, because when I look at the Jets offense right now, it's going to be a run first offense. Okay. You have a quarterback who can run the ball for the first time ever since I've seen the Jets. Okay. You've got Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, and Isaiah Davis, who I think are a nice trio of running backs. The offensive line started to come together toward the end of last year. You have 4 of those guys back. The thing that was kind of missing was that right tackle. So now you've got that. Can they run the ball? Can they become a bully? Can they sort of emulate what Aaron Glenn had in Detroit, with Jahmyr Gibbs there in Montgomery, a really good offensive line? And, yes, they are lacking in playmakers right now. You have Garrett Wilson, and there's not a whole lot else. I call it Breece Hall too, but in terms of receiving. So, let's see what they can do. Can they find a receiver or a tight end tomorrow night in the draft? Can they trade for maybe Dallas Goedert or Mark Andrews and firm up that tight end position? They have work to do there, but I do think logically this made sense.
Yeah, I did think it makes sense. What have you thought about what else has gone on throughout the draft tonight? We see Ashton Jeanty go before as first running back.
It felt like that Jeanty momentum was gaining steam in recent days. I think the trade, at 2 was the surprising. To give up that much for a non-quarterback, kind of shocking.
Do you think it was too much? When you say it's shocking, do you think it was too much?
Yeah, I think it was probably too much.
Okay.
We'll see. I heard from a lot of people, when I was trying to figure out what the teams were doing in front of the Jets, that Jacksonville was going to go offense. I know some people had Mason Graham, but the word was they really wanted offense. So I'm assuming that Hunter's going to play wide receiver there. I think I saw one report maybe from Schefter that was the plan. But, it seems like that's the way they go. They need to do something to help Trevor Lawrence there.
Kaz, let me ask you something about Breece Hall specifically, staying on this running back combo. Yeah. This running back class, going through it, it's incredibly great. If that's even a way to describe it, it's incredible. I've looked at running back classes. You can go 20 backs deep, and you end up with a back that you're like, this reminds me of Kareem Hunt. Yeah. Are the Jets looking at, in your opinion, this running back class and saying to themselves, with Breece's 5th year coming up, he's expendable? I mean, what do you think? Is that a real thing, or are you feeling that way? Are you hearing anything? I mean,
yeah, look, I think it has to be a consideration of, is Breece going to be here next year? I'd be surprised if they traded him. I know Josina reported that they've had discussions, but I'd be surprised if they moved on from him. I also don't think you can get good value right now on him. He's entering the final year of his contract, and there is no 5th-year option for Breece. He's a 2nd-round pick.
You're right,
so you could tag him. Yeah. You could tag him next year, but he's potentially going to be a free agent. So what's a team giving up for a running back, in a trade when they can, like you just said, they could draft one here and have control of him for 4 years. So I think the trade probably isn't going to happen. But yeah, I think they probably are looking running back, and they didn't draft any of these guys. So do they like Braylon Allen? Do they like Isaiah Davis? I thought Aaron Glenn spoke highly of all of them at the owners' meetings, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're set in stone as players here. To me, Frankie, there's too many other needs right now to be. Running back feels like a kind of like maybe a late round pick. Take somebody who can help on special teams, and maybe they have them next year on offense. But right now, I just think there's too many other holes to fill to be thinking about running back.
When a new regime comes in, Brian, I think you start thinking about, in terms of the draft, what kind of players does this regime want? Do we have an idea of what an Aaron Glenn kind of player is, or is that something we're going to know more of as we get further into mini camp and then training camp?
Yeah, for sure. I think we'll know more. We'll see how these next few days go, and see if there's any trends here. Their first selection is a guy from the SEC, so we'll see if they stick with those big school guys as time goes on here. That's always something you can pay attention to. they describe the same thing all the time, guys. On every coach and GM, we want aggressive, fast, strong, team first guys. Like, everybody has the same formula. No one's coming in here saying, kind of like the slow week guys. So I think we'll get a feel for it though as time goes on more. Right now, it's hard to assess what the players are that he wants.
Kaz, I have to ask you this: what is your first question or your next question to Aaron Glenn next time you see him? This is like they should have a documentary on this. Like if ESPN 30 for 30 isn't like diving into this, they should think about it, because I find it so fascinating, some of the responses to these questions. Some are harmless questions, like, oh, do you think Jordan Travis will be back? I'm not a doctor. Like, I don't Kaz, are you ready for your next question?
Yeah, look, guys, I'm not going to complain because he's entertaining, I think. I think it makes the press conferences a little interesting, a little spicier. I lived through Todd Bowles, where Todd basically said nothing, and it was painful. That's a lot harder as a reporter to deal with. So I'm not complaining about Aaron Glenn's press conferences right now. I think it's been fun. And, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing, Frankie. He's going to come down here tonight at some point when they know they're done for the night. And we have to ask him about Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, that's the job.
Are you going to be the one? I heard you're going to be the one. I
don't know if I'll be the one.
The odds are on Kaz. I saw earlier that he was minus 250.
I will say this about Brian. I think Brian is ready to be the one. I'm not saying he has to be the one, but I think if Brian has to do the journalistic job of asking, he's going to do that. I am very confident in that. Let me ask you this, Brian. Do you think he'll give you anything on Aaron Rodgers? Do you think we'll hear anything?
No, I think he'll absolutely say nothing on Aaron Rodgers.
I had to ask.
Yeah, he'll say nothing.
I had to ask. I didn't think we get much on that there. So the Jets pick is in now, officially there. It is Membu, so we know that's in. Brian, we're not going to keep you. We know you have work to do. I'm sure you're happy that you're not in Green Bay. I have to assume you're happy that you're not in Green Bay.
I like Green Bay myself.
What? You do?
I do. Green Bay is an amazing trip.
What do you do in Green Bay, Brian?
It's like a football pilgrimage. Like, you go there, like, it's like the museum in Lambeau Field is awesome. They have Vince Lombardi's office, like, as it was when he was there. It's so cool. It's a very cool place. However, I'm not a big crowd. Like, the crowd out there, like, would not want to be in that crowd, and I wouldn't want to think about flying into Green Bay is very difficult. And there are not a ton of hotels in Green Bay. I don't know where those people must be staying in Milwaukee. So.
But is that like a 3-hour drive, Milwaukee to Green Bay? Is it that long?
I don't think it's that long, Dexter. I actually did it when they played there. Remember they beat them in 2022?
Yeah, 2022.
Yep. Yeah, and Elijah Moore tweeted after the game, and I was somewhere in the middle of Wisconsin. I had to pull off to this rest stop on a reservation to follow up on the Elijah Moore tweeting. I think he was tweeting at Samini that night. That was a lot of fun.
That's some great journalism, stopping in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin to get it done. Listen, I have no interest in being part of that crowd in Green Bay. I couldn't do it. Yeah. It doesn't matter where it is. Look, I went to school in Pittsburgh.
Cool place, if you're a fan of a team and they're playing there, try to get to Green Bay sometime. It's a cool place.
Okay, I will do that. Now, what else you do beside that? I have no idea. That is the great Brian Costello, as always, doing a great job with the Jets. Brian, make sure you get a good question in it.
Yeah, good luck tonight, Brian. Stay safe out there tonight, okay?
All right.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you, man. That is Brian Costello, once again, beat reporter for the Jets. So some interesting stuff here.
All right, we have a lot of news to go through.
One thing that came in, I want to make sure we get this. This was minutes after drafting edge rusher Abdul Carter. Giants GM Joe Schoen said the team is picking up Kayvon Thibodeaux's 5th-year contract option. So that's huge. Thibodeaux got his option picked up. They're going to have great depth in terms of rushing the passer. It is going to be fantastic. That I'm really excited about, man. Like that should be good.
Breaking news.
Yes.
The Carolina Panthers are selecting the first wide receiver off the board. And that is?
Wait, that's if you don't count Travis Hunter, right?
That's true. Okay. So the first only wide receiver on the board.
If you're not counting Travis Hunter,
that's good.
Yeah.
Ted McMillan.
Okay.
Will be going and playing with Dave Canales. Bryce Young's resurrection, the second half of last season, looked really promising. Now he has someone to throw to. They have Xavier Leggett there. They got a few pieces out there. So, yeah, good spot for him. That's been rumored for a little bit. I've been hearing that the last week or so, that they're looking at the wide receiver market. You obviously have Matthew Golden, who's another wide receiver that teams like, very explosive player. Ted McMillan doesn't have that speed, but has that contested catch ability that really no receiver, I would say, in this draft has outside of Travis Hunter, who we can consider a hybrid. But so the Panthers settle on their guy, and we got our guy, I guess, or we
got you guy. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. We're going to bring in Brandon London in 1 second. Just want to get to some other people. Thank you all for checking in the chat. Shout out. Well, I don't know if I want to shout this person out. Juliana Turdo. It's a great day to be a Penn Stater and a Giants fan, Dexter. I see what you did there. It's never a great day to be associated with Penn State. But we have Brandon London out at the watch party with the Jets. He has my guy, can't wait, Bart Scott with him. What's up, Brandon?
Man, you guys had me waiting like I'm outside the club right now, man.
Hey, man, you ain't have that VIP pass. That's all I'm saying.
I'm telling you, I can't wait because I got Bart Scott right here. Y'all reading comments, but shout out to all the people that's watching the live stream right now. You guys are killing it. Bart Scott right here at number 7, Armand Mimble. A lot of people are talking about that. Our very own Jets beat writer, Brian Costello, thought that's where the Jets was going to go. Does that pick surprise you?
Not at all. You saw that last year the Jets passed on Brock Bowers, and people thought that maybe was a bad pick. But that's the thing. You can take a tight end, but if you can't protect the quarterback, that tight end is going to be held in 7-man protection. What this allows the Jets to do to go back to their DNA, their heyday, the ground and pound days. You talk about Damon Woody, Alex Faneca, Brandon Moore, Nick Mangold, and of course the Brickasaw first. This solidifies the offensive line. Because the issue is if you never will see a top-notch right tackle ever hit free agency. We never see Lane Johnson hit free agency. We never see Tristan Wirth hit free agency. We'll never see Panay Sewell hit free agency. So if you don't draft one, you'll never be able to get one. You hope to develop one. This guy is a certified right tackle, not a left tackle, that can project it and be able to move to the right side. We know, and you guys know, that that's a difficult thing to do, different footwork. So I think this is the right pick. The tight end class in this year's draft is a deeper position group, and I feel like they can go with Taylor in the second half. They can go with, Loveland will probably be gone, but they'll have an opportunity to get a tight end and address that second half.
You go left tackle last year with Olo Fusano. You announced the pick. We were up here last year at the same time. Now you go Mimbo. You solidified that offensive line. How did this unlock Justin Fields?
I mean, it helps them tremendously. When you remember the days of Michael Vick, you remember when you have a dual-threat quarterback, your run game should lead the league in rushing, because a mobile quarterback, a dual-threat quarterback, is going to hold the backside defensive end and the backside linebacker. So that's going to create holes for guys that free call. And if you have above average to exceptional offensive line players, when you get to the second line, it's going to be those creases. We saw that with Saquon Barkley. I'm excited to see what Breece Hall can do when he's given a steady dose. Last year, Breece Hall did not get more than 20 touches in any game last year, and as we know, he's too special. Got to get out to have explosive play.
We talk about Aaron Glenn and how he's coming in to reset the culture, change the culture. He didn't want a loud off season. Picking a right tackle at number 7 isn't a loud pick. So what does this say about where he's going with the culture?
Well, you understand where he's been. He's a disciple of Bill Parcells. He was on Sean Payton's coaching staff. He just left the Detroit Lions, who physically dominated opponents. Football is about moving a man against their will, and can you convert 4th and 1, or can you stop 4th and 1? And you know that most teams that we see that go late in the tournament is guys that can win the battle of the trenches. It's more sustainable that way. Everybody's better if you have more time, more protection to go through, and you can be able to hold up and release 5 in the route.
Last question, Bart, because I know you got to get up out of here. Where do they go next?
I think next they go to the second round and they see who falls to them. They have some other needs they really didn't address. The defensive tackle. They have
this is a deep draft for the defensive tackle. And it's going to be some good football players who's going to fall to the second round. There's going to be opportunities. But I would say they probably go tight end. I would think maybe a guy like Mason Taylor, a dual threat. He's a legacy guy. He's a guy that was born and grew up in this business with his father, being a Hall of Famer. He's a guy that can catch the ball, more athletic. And I think you can get that opportunity to get your tight end that way.
You looking athletic, you sure you don't want to put the cleats back on?
Well, I'm standing next to you. We both look good, but our backs don't work. Back sciatica on and stuff. I think I'm done.
Doctor said I need a backiotomy.
Yeah,
Doctor said I need a backiotomy.
Brandon, do me one favor. Do me one favor.
What's
Can
that,
you just ask Bart who he's got in the next
We have
Christmas series.
opportunities now. We have flexibility and be able to figure out what's going to do with Kayvon. Thibodeaux. Talk about going back to your roots. When the Giants are the Giants, they are able to get to that NASCAR package and harass quarterback. And in this division, they're going to have to get at some pretty mobile guys. Now you have another guy to help hunt.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Have fun on stage with you, bro. All right. Always love, man. Always love. Always love. Sorry, fellas. I wanted to get you guys some questions, but he had to run up out of there and pull him.
No problem.
Pulling him all over the place. How we feeling, fellas?
No, we're feeling good, man. I think it was a good Jets pick. Frankie wanted Tyler Warren, which would have been more time for us to talk about somebody else from Penn State, which I don't like to do. But it'd been more time for us to do that. But yeah, I think it's a good pick for the Jets. You got to shore up the offensive line, man. You got to do that.
You have to, man. Like Bart said, it doesn't matter who you have on the outside and on the perimeter, and Giants fans know this. If you can't shore up that offensive line and protect the quarterback, the moneymaker, the guy that you need to make the biggest plays in some of the most crucial times, then we got nothing for you. Just think of the Bengals Rams Super Bowl on that very last play where Aaron Donald just moves two people out of the way to hit Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase was wide open, ran a crisp go route, beat that DB off the line of scrimmage, but the quarterback had zero time to throw that football and to complete that football. You have to be able to shore up that offensive line to get the most out of your quarterback. And then if he can make throws without being under pressure, maybe he can drop it in the bucket or at least give your playmakers a catchable ball to show why they get paid as well.
Yep. No doubt about that. How's the energy been out there, Brandon, with the fans?
Oh
and
my
everything?
gosh, I thought you never asked. Where everybody at? Where we making
Look at these people. Whoa.
Hey.
Where my Giants fans in the building? So
Give us a little JETS. Let's go.
I'm going to walk you guys around, man. I know you guys need a little break right now.
Let's take a look.
I know you got a little break. What's up, my guy? So here's what we got. So it's dying down a little bit right now. But all this was packed. Here goes the stage.
This kid's a really good player.
Here goes the stage. Me and Bart were up there getting the crowd hype, getting the crowd live. All this was packed. All of this. Everybody just standing up, having a great time. You got Pepsi here, Dunkin' Donuts here, Bud Light. I might have had one or two, maybe not. But you got the field open over there. You got Jets fans throwing the football, having a good time. One thing, fellas, I hope you guys can hear me because I got the speaker right here.
I can hear you. I got you. We got you.
But one thing you saw, not only with the draft pick, but prior to the draft pick, you see two fan bases that have been rooting for franchises, and all they want is hope. All you want is hope with these picks. So I understand a right tackle may not be the sexiest pick for the Jets and Jets fans, Frankie. But you saw a lot of people here get excited about it because, like Bart said, they wanted to shore up that offensive line to get the most out of Jacksonville. And a Breece Hall, who's on his fourth year, or his final year on the contract, you got to run for 1,000. You got to touch 1,000 for the first time. Same thing with the Braylon Allen coming in his second year. You got a two-headed monster already. You want to be able to have an offensive line that can block. And on the flip side, the Giants fans, again, you got to be able to rush the decision makers. The quarterback. You can't get after the quarterback. Dexter, they were what? They were the top team through what? Week 9 when it came to sacks and total pressure.
Yep.
If you add another guy that can get after a quarterback, that only helps the back end.
It's never a bad thing to have that depth with the rushers, the guys who can rush the passer. It's never a bad thing to have that depth, man. Never bad at all.
I can see them still grabbing another corner to compete with Kayvon as that cornerback 2 position, because everything you got to earn everything in the NFL. You can be drafted 25th overall, first round. You came in, you had some plays under Reed Martindale. In your second year, you kind of struggled. Now you can hit the reset button. I understand this is your regime, but you're still going to have to go out there and compete with whatever young guy that they bring in to come in and be like, you know what? This kid can move. This kid tracks the ball better. The NFL, they're always looking for a reason. So for Kayvon, I think it'd be great for him if the Giants draft another corner at some point to come in and try and fight with him for that position. But you never know in the NFL. That's why we love the draft, because it's just a bunch of question marks. But at the end of the day, both teams got better in the first round.
Hey, that's what Jets and Giants fans want to hear. One last thing for you, Brandon. Are you hearing anything on the Giants moving back up into the first round? A lot of talk about that. Have you heard anything about that?
Right now, no. And we've been waiting around to see if there could be strong talks of that, because then I would stay here and I would wait for that pick. But as of right now, no. But don't listen to me. You got to wait until Joe Shane and Brian Dable goes and speaks to the media, because every time they've done that in years prior, they've shut him down for the night and have moved on to round 2. So as of right now, I haven't heard that much buzz. Sorry, I'm not Adam Schefter. I can't break a story for you guys right now. But as of right now, no. But if I hear something, Dexter, Frankie, I got your number. I'll text you. I'll call you, baby.
You better.
There you go.
I'm waiting
there you go. You know what time it is. Go get some tea, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Later, man.
Appreciate you guys, man.
No problem, man. All right, peace. That is Brandon London, host anchor here with New York Post Sports.
A lot of news
at MetLife. You got a lot of news.
I got a lot of news. I've been trying to talk about these picks. We've had 5 picks. We haven't even discussed them.
But we had great content. We had,
we got these picks coming on.
Brian Costello.
I'm
we got the Knicks up by
here.
9 at the end of the third
quarter.
I
had some energy drinks. I have picks going on. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, I was like, I missed you drinking energy drinks. You might get too hype on me.
No, there's a lot of stuff going on.
All right, so fill us in.
I'm going to fill everybody. All right, so the first tight end was just picked by the Chicago Bears. But that tight end was not Tyler Warren. It was Michigan's Colston Loveland. Now, all right. I get this to a degree because of Ben Johnson and the kind of offense that Ben Johnson wants to run.
Mm-hmm.
It's fast pace. It's wide spread. It's Caleb Williams getting the ball down the field. Colston Loveland projects out big time as being a better pure pass catcher down the field than Tyler Warren. He's smoother.
I feel like a butt is coming here. What's the butt?
The butt is what's going on with Tyler Warren. What do teams know that we don't about Tyler Warren? Now, I'm not saying there's something going on, but something could be going on. The guy had 1,233 yards receiving, 240 rushing last year. Considered tight end 1 on a lot of boards by a clear margin. Chicago Bears looking at Tyler Warren and Ben Johnson seeing what he saw with Sam Laporta, similar skill, traits there. And you go and get Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren. I'm just saying. I'm not no conspiracy here, but it's very strict.
Or is it just Loveland's a better fit for their system?
It would seem that way. The thing that doesn't make sense is the fact that Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren is more like Sam Laporta and is more like what Ben Johnson had done in Detroit. And Detroit had one of the best offenses I've ever seen. Nevertheless, the best offense in the league the last couple of years, like one of the best. But you look at Colston Loveland, he's faster than Tyler Warren. He's quicker in and out of his breaks than Tyler Warren. But man, the guy had 582 yards receiving last year. Tyler Warren had 1,233. But now, listen, Michigan's offense had a lot of problems. He had a lot less targets.
They ran the ball a lot. Right.
Yes, but it's strange to see that. Now, I don't know. Colston Loveland, I really like him. Out of my 15 guys I love in this draft, I almost put him and Tyler Warren on because I think they're both very good. But is Colston Loveland Dalton Kincaid? Is Colston Loveland Kyle Pitts-ish?
That's the thing you don't know. You see the stats for him: the 104 yards receiving and 104 receptions, over 1,200 yards receiving for Tyler Warren.
Yeah,
12 TDs, 11.9 yards per reception, 77 yards per game. So he's racking it up. We've seen that. I just wonder if sometimes we look at what is a prototype of somebody, if that doesn't always match to the fit for this team. And listen, the Bears have weapons, right? They got weapons. They got guys that Caleb can throw the ball to. Maybe they wanted somebody with a little bit more speed that can get underneath and do something. I just wonder if that's the thinking instead of you're right.
Yeah.
You look at Tyler Warren, he's more in the mold of Sam Laporta. But Colston Loveland, which is a dope name. We got to just give him love. Name. It's a dope name.
I'll say this, Dexter. Looking at Tyler Warren on tape, you do ask yourself sometimes, is this guy just not athletic enough? And although he's been described by his own teammates as being a super athlete, and he windmill dunks in pickup games at Penn State, you do find yourself wondering, like, this guy seems like he's always about to fall and trip over himself. Like, he runs like that. And some tight ends move like that. We saw Jason Witten make a Hall of Fame, arguably a Hall of Fame career out of that. Antonio Gates wasn't the biggest speedster. So there is something to be said about
great hands.
Yeah, there is something to be said about tight ends don't necessarily need to be burners, quote unquote. But I mean, look at Colston Loveland in that shot. Does that look like a wide receiver? He looks like a kicker, his body.
But look at what we've seen in the league with even on the defensive side of the ball, right? We've seen some teams go a little smaller for more speed sometimes. I just wonder if they were going for the speed. Speed might have been the factor that had them say, this is what they're gonna do. We're gonna take a second to look at what's happened in the top 10 of this draft. We're now 10 picks. The 49ers on the clock there. We see Cam Ward, obviously at number 1, Travis Hunter, number 2, Abdul Carter to the Giants at 3. You said the draft really started at 3, and then we had some stuff, we missed with Will Campbell and Graham going and Ashton Genty all before Membu. And he's surprised. Is this a surprise when we're talking about Chicago? Is that a surprise out of the top 10?
You know what? I'll say something. The only surprise out of this top 10, outside of the trade up that Jacksonville did and what they gave up, there's really no surprises. And I'll say this, I'm a little surprised that there weren't more surprises. This is a little chalk-ish. It's chalk.
It's going chalk. Yeah. Right outside of the trade between 2 and 5, right?
Yeah. I mean, where the guys went is chalk. It's Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Will Campbell. I was talking about Will Campbell going to the Patriots at 4.
Yep.
Mason Graham at 5, but to Jacksonville, he was projected to go for a while, but he goes to Cleveland instead, still at 5. 6, Genty's been rumored to go to the Raiders. Yeah. I mean, Pete Carroll, they were saying wants his Marshawn Lynch 2.0. Got him.
Guy. Yep.
The Jets with Membu. Ted McMillan was rumored. Ted McMillan's a little bit of a surprise. And even Kelvin Banks Jr. The last couple weeks, or last even couple days, he's kind of shot up some boards. You saw Rich Cimini this week talking about and posting that, he would guess that the Jets would get him. So, but the biggest surprise is who we've been talking about just now. Colston Loveland going 10. I mean, over Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren not being a top 10 pick. But Loveland being one is surprising, but it's been pretty chalk.
It's been pretty chalky. I mean, I think the Giants and Jets actually look. This is where I'm with Brian Costello on this. I think they did fine, but we really don't know. We really have no idea. This is the NFL draft. I say this all the time. All drafts, really, but particularly more so the NFL. It's a crapshoot. You have no idea. You don't know what these guys are going to be. You can say this guy's a can't miss. He's going to do good. You can feel good about stuff, but you won't know for a couple of years till you see how these guys adapt to the league. Now, I think the Giants they got great value at 3. I really do.
They absolutely did.
Because I'm with what everybody said. I'm with what Bart Scott said. I'm with what Casilla said. You gotta have depth. The Giants have seen this before. You can never have enough depth at wide receiver. You see my eyes shifting because I'm looking at this Nick game, which is an 8-point game. As Cat gets bailed out by a foul with 10:50 to go.
All I was going to tell you is I asked Paul. The only concern I have with Abdul Carter is this stress fracture.
But the Giants checked it out. They said everything's
straight. That's my own. Because if he didn't have that, to me, he's my top player in this draft.
But I've heard other people say that too.
Yeah,
they had him graded as the best player in the draft if he didn't have those concerns.
You got to be a little concerned when somebody says I'm not getting surgery. Like I would almost be more on board with Abdul Carter if they were like, all right, we're getting surgery, fixing this. It never happen again, or it won't be something lingering. They said it healed itself. Did it? I mean, I'm just saying I don't like bringing up hypotheticals with injuries because you could get injured doing anything in this world, but. That is a little bit of a concern, but everything else checks out. Also, with that injury, with that stress fracture, the way he plays too is conducive sometimes. He's extremely twitchy. You see Micah Parsons dealing with injuries. When you're a leaner, twitchy edge, it's par for the course. When you're taking on big offensive linemen all day and you're colliding into running backs and trying to take quarterbacks' heads off and you're thinner, it could potentially come back to bite you with certain injuries. But at the end of the day, I think the Giants made the best pick at 3. The Jets, that's the conversation. I do really like Armand Membo. I think he's one of the best offensive players in this draft. I understand people saying that he was a better pick than Tyler Warren. Now with Colston Loveland going before Tyler Warren, that gives the Armand Membo people a little bit more ammo. Well, you wanted Tyler Warren. Another tight end went before him.
I know. And I'm intrigued to see where Tyler Warren goes now because he's on the board. I want our great team has done a good job. I wanted to put up what the Giants defense can look like now that they've got Abdul Carter, because Abdul Carter really changes the perspective of this Giants defense. And you're looking at it right now where you've got Brian Burns, who we've talked about. We've got Abdul Carter there up front, Dexter Lawrence, as well. And then, talking about the corners with Deontay Banks, Brian Okereke, McFadden is there as well. When you look at this Giants defense, just having another guy like Abdul quarterback, Abdul Carter in there, what do you think this does? Is this truly transformed this defense that showed the ability, as Brandon mentioned, through the first 9 games to get to the quarterback? But now you think, okay, you got another pass rusher. That's going to help guys like Tay Banks and guys in the secondary, be a little bit better. Do you think this really improves this Giants defense?
100%. 100%. What this does for the Giants defense, it will allow Dexter Lawrence to flourish even more. And if you want to bring him help, or he ends up putting pressure up the middle that actually forces a quarterback to have to move a little bit outside the pocket, well, you're going to meet Brian Burns or Abdul Carter. Someone's going to benefit. So whether or not the quarterback has to stay in the pocket because they're going to pressure on the outside and Dexter Lawrence eats, or vice versa, Dexter Lawrence is getting that pressure, it's going to have, you're going to get Burns and Carter easier opportunities to get to the quarterback. And that's a defensive line's job outside of stopping the run. And it's even more important, I think, than stopping the run because the linebackers play a factor in that and your game plan. The defensive line's job is to hit the quarterback. The quarterback's the most important position in football, and it's probably one of the most important positions in sports. Take out the quarterback, you'll win a game. That's just a fact.
We got bodies to do it now. We didn't even mention Kayvon Thibodeaux.
Yeah, he's not even on the graphic.
No, he is. He was peeking in at the corner. You missed him. He was there.
He's right there. There we go.
I got it up here too. He's
I brought my shades tonight for Kayvon. I got to get better shades.
And I'm glad they had him peeking in because we didn't know whether he was going to be in or out. But now they've picked up that 5th-year option. You know that he's in. I like that move by the Giants. If our crew has brought up the graphic again here, I like the move by the Giants to pick up that 5th-year option because it lets the young man know, hey, we're investing in you. We want you to be a part of this. And he can now relax and maybe play free, knowing he's got some help around him to do some things.
Yeah, well, Kayvon, and the graphic stands corrected at this point, Kayvon's not going to be slated to start necessarily.
Not necessarily. No.
Not necessarily. Not with Brian Burns and Abdul Carter. Now, they may start them in a package, and Kayvon's going to get snaps, but Kayvon's got a lot to prove. They're picking up his 5th year. He's got 1 year to really prove to them. Now, whether he starts or not, it's kind of irrelevant. They're going to give him a snap count.
Yeah, but
they're going to give him certain snap counts.
Maybe he's fresher. Maybe he's got a set amount around. Yeah, and he's able to.
You got to produce,
but he's got to produce. This is on here. I like showing the faith in him.
Yeah,
and saying, okay, hey, we believe in you. We picked this up at least for 1 year. We'll see how things are going. Got my eyes on both things. Good night in New York, 99-91. Knicks leading with 7:56 to go. Game 3 out in Detroit. Knicks have played a really solid offensive and defensive game in this one. From what I've seen, they have moved the ball really well. The assist. A lot of good players playing well on offense for the Knickerbockers. Today, we see the Cowboys. They take Tyler Booker from Alabama.
Yeah, these last 2 picks, I'm just going to keep it real, are not good picks, in my opinion.
So you're dealing with San Francisco took the edge rusher. I missed that.
Yeah, Mykel Williams.
Yeah.
He's one of my, and I'm just going to be honest because everyone always likes players. I don't like Mykel Williams. I've watched a lot of tape on him. He's a tweener. I don't see him getting to the quarterback. Now, San Francisco's had, believe it or not, as good as they've been over the last 5 to 8 years, whatever. They've had a lot of misses in the first round, and that's that's headlinered by Trey Lance. I don't like Mykel Williams. I get why they want Mykel Williams because they're trying to beef up that front line. Yeah. Robert Saleh now being their defensive coordinator, he likes those guys coming in and out. He likes Michael Clemens types, which is kind of what this guy kind of reminds me of. I didn't understand why he was projected to go as high as he was. Maybe teams know something I don't, but he has a lot of finishing issues, Mykel Williams. He had almost a 27% missed tackle rate in college. Didn't really have a lot of production. Now, when you go to Georgia, there's always the what if factor. Why? When you go to Georgia, and you'll see later on in this draft, you'll see tomorrow, the next day, Ohio State, Georgia, Penn State, Notre Dame. They stack the deck, LSU. There's random safeties that they don't have the production, but because they went to, Ohio State, Ransom, who I like, he's an Ohio State safety.
They get that benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, and he's like the 7th best guy in this draft for them, but they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. Mykel Williams is going to get the benefit of the doubt because he's a defensive player at Georgia. But the production is not there. And the talent, to me, is not there. But he's under 21 years old. He's not even 21. Can't even legally drink at this point. So we'll see. But I don't like the pick. This last pick here, Tyler Booker, same thing as Mykel Williams, just on the opposite side of the ball. It's an Alabama guard. He is a typical heavy, top heavy. They're built like lightning bulbs. Guards at Alabama. They don't move well on their feet. They're heavier built. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I don't like the pick at 12. I think Dallas, they've been trying to get these offensive linemen right for a while.
They've been trying for a couple of years.
They drafted Guyton last year again from Oklahoma, trying to go to a big school with a big. I don't like both of these picks, to be honest. We'll see. This is recorded, I assume, right?
Well, yeah, we'll see. It'll be out there. It'll be living out there. So we will see. We'll see. So yeah, shout out to everybody watching on here with us for this live stream. A bunch of you still here. Let us know how you feel. Chat, you haven't been too active. We want to see. Hipster Genius says Kayvon Thibodeaux being a situational edge is scary if he can stay healthy. Nick Federico, he said, man, we know he wanted Tyler Warren, so he's not happy about that. Hipster Genius also said this pass rush could be up there with LT, Carl Banks, Kerry Hawson, as well as Tuck Strahan and Umanura. Now,
I wouldn't go that far just yet.
They're all great. Those are all some great pass rushes. I'm not going to go there yet. I understand what you're saying. I think you got to pump the brakes.
Yeah, just a little
I
bit,
see what you're saying. I will say this to your point, Hipster Genius. I think this group can actually get to the quarterback. You saw some of that last year. We know how good Brian Burns is. We know how good Dexter Lawrence is there in the middle. You getting some of these other edge rushers absolutely can help. But let's chill on the comparison to some Hall of Fame guys. They're Giants Ring of Honor guys there. We could let's wait and see. And those guys all won and were pretty big.
I'll say this though, Abdul Carter is probably in a year or so going to be their best pass rusher. And that's not a slight on any of those guys. Abdul Carter could end up being one of the better pass rushers in the NFL. And he is relentless to the ball. And that, again, works well with Dexter Lawrence. That, to me, that dynamic there between Dexter Lawrence and Abdul Carter, they're going to benefit off each other so much. Goes hand in hand in football when you have your nose or 3 tech, if Dexter plays there, and you have your edge guy. They both help each other.
You got a guy in Abdul Carter, most sacks in Penn State history, right? Number 1 there. You see it right here on the screen. One of the best to ever do it. So a lot of expectations coming on him here. How can he perform at the NFL level? As Mikal Bridges, getting distracted by this game. Big 3 from Mikal Bridges, who's had
about damn time
a thing. Interesting thing about the NBA playoffs. Just saw a stat come up here. First team to reach 100 points, 14-0 record.
Really?
In the playoffs this season.
Don't jinx it on us.
I know. And then watch the Knicks be the first team to not do this. Like we don't need to see this. This has been a good game. Shout out to Jalen Rose. I see Jalen Rose there at the game, as I thought he would be in the Motor City. Jalen Rose at the game. So yeah, good night in New York. Knicks and Nets. They're not anyway. Giants and Jets. They have their draft picks. Knicks trying to take a 2-1 series lead in Detroit. Is Cat looking to punish Dennis Schroeder, and does like a Knicks offense looking really good. Shout out again to everybody watching. Please, if you like the content you're seeing here on the New York Post Sports YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Also, be sure to check out our football shows, Big Blue Rush, fantastic show, along with Gangs All Here. Big Blue Rush, obviously for the Giants. Gangs All Here, Gang Green with the Jets. You can check it out. Frankie is a part of the show with Ryan Sampson. Also catch Brandon London hosting Big Blue Rush. Fantastic 2 shows for football, for the football fans in New York. That's where you need to be plugged in. Absolutely, for sure. Now, you said that I found interesting here, Frankie. I agree with you. Pretty chalky.
Yeah.
The first 10 picks.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm surprised. The first 12 picks. I mean, Mikael Williams was rumored to go around there, and so was Tyler Booker.
What I'm interested in here is, okay, maybe when we get past 15, 16, 17, could we see a little action? Maybe some teams trying to trade back up. Is this where you see Jackson Dart? Is this where you see Shedeur Sanders? There's some teams rumored around there. What did the Steelers do at 21? There's some other things that could happen. I wonder if we get a little action on the back end, but this is why I hate these picks being 10 minutes long. Let's speed this up.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. So I was just thinking about, what is a potential runoff in this draft, right? So the Dolphins go and get a defensive tackle. They get Kenneth Grant out of Michigan, who was the sidekick of Mason Graham.
Yep.
Not really a runoff necessarily, but Mikael Williams is considered a defensive lineman, so you see people getting a little antsy. The Colts got my guy. The Colts got...
Who's your guy?
Who's my guy? Who do I want the Jets to get?
Oh, Tyler Warren.
They got Tyler Warren. And that was a place for Tyler Warren. So there's 2 spots really for Tyler Warren to go.
I like that for the Colts.
I do like that for the Colts. I really do. And he's the kind of football player that they kind of need there. There was some issues with that offense, with leadership there. Bringing Tyler Warren, just a great football player overall. So, yeah, they got Tyler Warren. Now things get interesting, I think, because now it's, well, who's the next team to get the next tight end? If another running back goes, who's going to be the next running back to kind of go? Defensive tackle now Kenneth Grant's off the board. By the way, Kenneth Grant going 13th is high.
This is very high.
But the Dolphins are replacing Christian Wilkins, who they didn't want to bring back last year. He ends up going to the Raiders. So they kind of fill that void. Kenneth Grant, big kid. People compare him to Marcus Lawrence due to his flexibility too, and his agility for his size. So defensive tackles are deep in this draft for sure. But you have Mason Graham going, Kenneth Grant, and then my favorite defensive tackle still on the board, Walter Nolan, one of my favorite, is still out there. And you have guys like Derek Harmon and Darius Alexander, Alfred Collins. So curious, but now the runoff happens because
that's
a team might say, oh, I like Derek Harmon and I like Kenneth Grant, one of the two. damn, Kenneth Grant went earlier than I thought at 13. I might have to jump up and do something to get my
guy that I want. Right.
This is how it works. You have 2 or 3 guys. One goes really early. It starts. The pressure's on.
Pressure is on here for sure. It's gonna be interesting to see. Do any quarterbacks any more to go? Or I don't know if we'll see. I doubt we see another running back here taken in the first round.
No, we'll see one.
You think see one?
Yeah.
Who else could we see?
I don't know. I'm projecting, but Omarion Hampton is a big name. One of the guys on my do not like list for his value because he's been talked about as even being the best running back in this class. Not my cup of tea, but I love the third consensus guy who's my second consensus in Travion Henderson. And I think a team looks at him and saw what Jahmyr Gibbs did last year in Detroit.
I could see him doing that.
Definitely. He's a one-cut gone. He's a rocket, out of the backfield. So he'd be interesting in the next couple picks, I think. Someone to look out for. Maybe Arizona. I'm looking now at 16. They have James Conner, who's really underrated and very good, actually.
Fantastic running back there.
But
hard to tackle.
Beat up. Team up James Conner with Travion Henderson. Give Kyler Murray a little bit of speed help on the outside. So that's a spot I'm kind of looking at right now. Atlanta, not necessarily, but look at Travion Henderson and maybe the next 4 or 5 picks to go. Or Omarion Hampton, for sure. He's someone that's been projected to go on the first round.
And look at this, 2025 first 13 picks and 9 on offense, 5 on defense. 8 on offense, 5 on defense. Here, 1 QB in the first 13 picks.
Interesting.
Which is very interesting, which is why I'm very intrigued as how this close of late. I got to ask you, because we got it on here in the studio, how you feeling about this next Pistons game, 3-point game?
I told you jinxed it.
I didn't. It's not over.
You literally you can't read. First of all, listen, you can't read a stat like that when it comes up. You just got to look at it and say,
they put the stat up, so they jinxed it.
Listen, you're hosting the show. You should have read it out. I probably would have done the same thing.
I had to read it out.
But you jinxed it, man.
I had to read it out.
So, yeah, man, we're like the TV is so much more behind than everything else, like leaking. There's but that's just how the draft is. The 10 minutes. No, it's not anyone's. It's not our problem. It's just that's the draft, And
I think we have some news coming with the Giants.
Oh yeah.
Just keeping an eye on Connor Hughes. I'm just checking what Connor Hughes has here. We got some news from him. Actually, just saw it come in. Connor Hughes also said the Jets were potentially interested in potentially interested in the Tyler Warren, as we talked about. But in terms with the Giants that we're talking about with Connor Hughes, I was reading some of his news on the Jets that he just tweeted this a few minutes ago. He said,
"Look how much of a beast Tyler Warren is."
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up this tweet.
No, you're fine.
He said, "Keep an eye on the Seahawks. Number 18 is a potential spot for the Giants to trade up and get their quarterback. Commanders at 29, Chargers at 22. Also, other spots that the Giants could trade up to, but might be too late with the Steelers picking at 21. So that tells you the Steelers might be looking to get their quarterback there at 21. The Browns, as we talked about earlier, they could also be looking to move up for QB because they now have that plethora of draft picks, which is good for them. They've got more ammunition than the Giants. So maybe the Giants do have to be aggressive and try to talk with Seattle at 18 to try to get something done, as we got the word there about what Connor Hughes reported there.
The interesting thing there, Dexter, with the quarterback market is if there's no real urgency for a team or teams really to go grab these guys, they'll just wait. There's no, we're looking now. Shedeur Sanders, we haven't even brought his name up. We're 15 picks in. He's nowhere to be talked about or found. I was wrong. I thought Jackson Dart would go to. We didn't bring this up.
Yeah,
I thought he was going 9. I thought New Orleans was going to take him.
Might go in the top 10.
Yeah, and honestly, it might have been a better pick for their long-term, for their future.
But if they don't grade him as high, they thought they could be.
Listen, they thought Kelvin Banks was
wants a quarterback. Everybody
a better building block. Yeah,
everybody needs a quarterback, but is it the thing to rush that pick if you don't believe in the guy? And I think that's some of what we're seeing here. It doesn't make sense to rush the pick. If it's not your guy, if it's not the guy you believe in, does it make sense to to invest in him that high.
I come from a different school of thought, and I might be the only one in this school of thought.
Yeah.
So it's like I go to this school and I might be like the only person there, but
the only one enrolled. The only one enrolled is Frankie Vittorini. Why is nobody else in the school? We have no idea.
You know what my school of thought is? Draft. I would, if I was New Orleans, and I like Spencer Rattler actually, but I would have drafted Jackson Dart, or even I'll give even Shedeur. You know, I'm not a big Shedeur guy. You got to draft a quarterback. Let him sit for a year. Don't let him do anything. Let him learn.
I'm in. I think more quarterbacks should sit.
I know. Let them sit for even 2 years. Look at Jordan Love. I don't understand. You could have everything on a football field. You could have the best players everywhere. The quarterback is 5 times more important than any other position. 10 times more important than any other position on defense. You gotta get the quarterback right. I don't understand. I've been talking to Jeff.
Why are so many teams so bad at getting the quarterback right?
You know what I think it is?
The Jets haven't had a franchise quarterback. Since Joe Willie.
Yeah, I think the pressure to start these kids early, to sell tickets, to give the perception that you know what you're doing. Coaches and GMs only last 3 years.
It was
4 years. Yeah. Well, you're picking somebody. You're picking Jackson Dart, New Orleans. I don't even know. I mean, they're in a different spot because they just got their coach, but like the coach doesn't have that much time. They got 3 years. What are you going to make him sit for 2? Like Green Bay's able to sit the guys because Green Bay has like a structure. They have
you know. But why isn't more people trying to be like Green Bay and saying, "Hey,
I don't know."
They have the patience. They get the guys. They get it right. They've done it 3 times in a row. This is not by accident.
Yeah, I know. Right? I don't know. I don't. Listen, it's easy to. It's like looking at a business and saying, "Oh, I'm going to copy their model."
Right. I don't want to.
Unless you have it, you don't know it.
Right. I don't want to say it's easy to do.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
and I think that we've seen good organizations. The Steelers could be one of them. Struggle to find their quarterback. Right.
Yeah.
You've seen that. So I don't want to say that. You know, you look at the Colts. They're wondering what do they have in Anthony Richardson. I think they need to give the kid more time. I think you need to see more with him. I wouldn't be out on him. I think we're out on these kids too quickly sometimes.
Yeah.
And they're not given the time to develop. Sometimes they aren't it. Like you knew that with Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson wasn't it.
But sometimes too, though, like give yourself more bites at the quarterback apple.
So I was gonna ask you that when you say give yourself more bites at the quarterback apple, are you somebody that's like, y'all might just draft a quarterback every year, every other year. And if I take one in the 3rd round here, just because of the notion that I'm going to hit on one of these.
Yeah. Remember when the Washington then Redskins selected RG3?
Yep.
2nd overall. And who did they also select in that draft?
Cousins.
Kirk Cousins in the 4th round. Now, it's not common, but that was pretty smart to me. Like, Kirk Cousins proved to be a quality starter for them. They didn't win anything with Kirk. RG3 unfortunately had injury issues,
it wasn't that he couldn't
play,
right?
He probably wouldn't. Kirk could have been a wasted pick if RG3 never got hurt, probably because he was that good. But I just think like try it in this draft. We're not going to see it in the 1st round, but there's some quarterbacks late. I love Will Howard. I really like Riley Leonard. I also think Jalen Milroe's got a shot in this league. I think Dylan Gabriel could be good. I think Curtis Rourke could be good. I think. In a world, they could be good. Last year, there was no quarterback late besides maybe Spencer Rattler last year that I'm looking at on day. Yeah, that I'm looking at on day 2 or 3, and excited about. I'm excited about a few of these guys.
To that notion, though, as a Jets fan, we talked about what their needs are. Would you? Wow,
that's a goaltend. No, I'm just kidding.
No, they called the offense. They called offensive foul. Would you take a quarterback for the Jets?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why not take a flyer on them, right?
Definitely.
Because you still don't think you have your quarterback in the future.
Yeah. If 42 is too high for people, I would do it at 73.
I'm with you on
why
this.
not?
I'm with you on this. Why not?
You know,
man, what a finish by K. This is a 3-point game.
Wow.
The Pistons are not going away in this, man. It's crazy. We're gonna get back to the draft, but I'm sorry, gotta have my eye on my Knickerbockers.
This is big.
For sure.
The Knicks have to win this game, man.
Have to win this.
I mean, they don't have to, but like you don't want to make this series longer than it has to.
You don't want to give them life here.
We would be playing who? The Celtics next round.
Yeah.
So
what concerns me is this here. Oof. The Knicks now in late game situations, and Jalen Brunson he held the ball to the last seconds to shoot. It was a terrible possession by the Knicks, and oh my God.
Apparently, Josina Anderson tweeted, "Please stop showing the empty Shedeur couch." Where have they shown that?
I missed that.
I must
I
have
didn't
not
see it.
Yeah,
Jalen Brunson with a huge basket to put Knicks up 5 and 120.
Oh, nice.
Tim Hardaway Jr. Timmy doing Timmy things and missing.
There he is.
And Josh Hart almost.
There he isn't.
Knicks. Tim Hardaway. I told you guys in game 1. I told you guys he'll hit shots early and then he'll do stuff late that you'll be like, man, that looks just like Tim Hardaway Jr.
This Atlanta Falcons pick taking a half hour.
Woo! Captain Clutch. Jalen Brunson.
Dude, he's the
back-to-back.
best,
Clutch player of the year in the NBA. Back-to-back. Big layups. This is what he does in crunch time. I mean, man, Jalen Brunson's so good in the clutch. And listen, I got to pull these numbers up while I have it here on Jalen Brunson because there were 2 people I was really intrigued about tonight, Frankie, coming off that game 2 loss. How would Karl-Anthony-Towns play? 29 points, 10 of 18, 4 of 8 from downtown, 8 boards, 3 blocks. He's had 2 blocks in the last minute here. And then Brunson, 26 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds. And the key for Jalen Brunson in this, we're dishing that out, 1 turnover tonight.
Wow, that's everything, man.
4 of the 5 Knicks starters in double figures. 4 of the 5 Knicks starters all over 20 points. The only starter in single digits is Josh Hart. He has 6 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists.
Wow.
Tremendous game. Tremendous game from this Knick team who came out with good energy from the start. So
we got the picks in. The Atlanta Falcons are selecting another edge that I'm not in love with, but has a lot of positional value. Jalen Walker, another edge out of Georgia. So he played with Michael Williams. Scheme fit kind of guy. Plays everywhere, but I worry a little bit about his ability to play at one place. Sometimes when you play everywhere, you're jack of all trades, but you're a master of none kind of player. Production's not really there. Had 6.5 sacks last year. And for his career, he had 12.5 sacks total for his career in 43 games. It's kind of a lot. But when you play on Georgia, everyone's eating. So, you're not going to be able to
have the flash and have the gaudy stats that somebody might have. But he's that potential of people being in that system.
Yep. Some of his strengths, he's twitchy to a degree. He displays promising feel for rush angles. He flashes violence in his hands. And he can kind of do a little bit of everything. He's blocked punts, for example, and played on punt coverage. So he's kind of he's just very athletic. Weakness is he's undersized, which kind of matches with some of his tweener build, which, as you can see, he's a tweener. And seems to hesitate a little bit at times, struggles against bigger body tackles, but good player. But as you're seeing here, he plays on the inside, he plays on the outside. Where are you going to put him? He's a scheme fit. So I'm sure Atlanta now with Jets, our guy there, our guy that was here last year, our defensive coordinator, who then head coach. He was so bad, I even forgot his name.
Wow, you forgot Robert Saleh's name?
No,
already?
The other guy. What was his name?
Who are we talking about? Oh, the defensive coordinator?
Yeah.
That became head coach after Saleh left. What was
his name?
Why am I forgetting his name? I guess you were not alone. You were not alone in this.
Jeff
Ulbrich.
Yeah. Wow, he was so bad, I forgot his name.
I understand why you wanted to forget.
No,
I literally understand why you wanted to forget.
I matrixed myself with Jeff Ulbrich. Jeff Ulbrich's there as our new defensive coordinator. He likes guys like this. He likes guys that can play inside,
outside, like Jalen Walker can. So listen, it's a big boy with a lot of speed. Knicks up 6 here, folks, with 30 seconds to go. Now it's 4. Ooh. Jalen Duren just got a dunk. Detroit's got a foul. They don't, which is surprising. Finally, they do. Knicks, they hit their free throws. They should win this one. So it should be good. It is possible we might have Brian Lewis. We've been having him after the Knicks watch parties. Don't know if we're going to have it. We'll see if we do have him after this game is over. We might take a little break while we stay here with the draft and talk a little bit of Knicks as well, too.
But this draft, chalk. I'm telling you, it's.
But I think that could switch real soon, though. I'm really
you would think,
especially what Connor Hughes just reported, and watch what's called Seahawks coming up at 18.
I will say this: I do think we've gotten to a point with in sports media and in media in general that there's so much access to information. There's so many leaks There's so many conversations, front office, GM, scouts.
Yeah.
People know what the hell they're talking about. Say what you want about the mock
yeah.
draft community, and I didn't do one mock this year. I will not.
Didn't?
No, I don't do mock drafts.
Okay.
I don't believe in them. But I will say, maybe I'll start doing them again next year because I don't do mock drafts because one pick will throw an entire curveball. This draft has kind of proven that logic a little wrong because the Colston Loveland pick was a little curveball, but I saw Tyler Warren going to the Colts at 14 often. So I didn't see Loveland going there. So I'm just saying there's something to be said about these mocks. It's a very outside of Colston Loveland at 10. I'm not surprised at any of these picks, to be honest. Not one.
I wonder how accurate these mocks would be if this was a draft that had more potential quarterbacks, right?
That's
because I feel like that's when you see a little bit more lying, right? When people, nobody wants to show their hand because everybody's trying to get these quarterbacks they're in love with. If there were more quarterbacks that people loved, maybe it wouldn't be as chalky. You know what I mean?
I agree.
But I understand what you're saying there too.
Let's see if the Cardinals take. All right. So the Cardinals take one of my favorite players in the draft, not the running back. I thought they might look at Travion Henderson. They take defensive tackle Walter Nolan, one of the most fun prospects in this draft. Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss was projected by some to go in the second round, actually. So Walter Nolan's big boy, super fluid. Gives them really good value because they need to shore up that defense. They got a little bit too flashy last year, scored a lot of points, but didn't really know how to stop anyone. Walter Nolan kind of gives them something on the front line, and he's very agile for a defensive tackle, which is rare. For his size, you're not that agile. He's fun. They say, like, in a past life.
How big is he?
He's 300 pounds plus. He's 320.
He's over 320. Okay, a big boy.
But he, they say in a past life he must have been like a ballroom dancer or something. So,
because he's got that kind of agility.
Not 320. He's 305. But some people say he's plays at 320. Who knows? But you're not that agile as a 300 pounder, which he is. So
I think some people, if you haven't seen it up close, the athleticism of some of these offensive and defensive linemen, you don't understand. Like, some of those guys can move for sure. They can really, really, really move.
Yeah. If you take a look here and you look,
I'm looking at Walter Nolan because sometimes you don't see all these
He doesn't
guys.
Look that big.
He does.
Actually, yeah, he kind of does. Yeah, I mean, but he doesn't look. He doesn't look like he can play. He can play at 320, which I was reading. They have him at 3 because he can be moved around a little bit when he engages because he likes to move so much. So one of his weaknesses on Dane Brugler's a beast who does a phenomenal job is his rush plan is based more on activity than cohesion. He can do a better job of staying square when moving laterally down the line. He reacts first and reads second, leaving him out of position at times. But he's one of my players that I had on my 15 guys I love list defensively. And look how happy Coach Gannon is there, Jonathan Gannon. He
tells the guy they wanted.
Yeah, he's a defensive guy. Yeah, this dude's fun, man. This dude's a fun prospect to look at.
6'3", going 296, but he plays sometimes over 300. But you can. It's funny looking at him here. You can see some of that agility.
You see that?
Right, look at that. That's
crazy. Dude, you don't move like that.
Off.
Do you see?
Crazy.
He's going one way, getting cut and diving. He flashes on tape.
Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, you're right. So a guy like that flashes on tape, people are going to be all over that.
Yeah,
you know, we're looking at some of the highlights that you're seeing here on TV, folks. He can really get off his player real quick. Jalen Brunson pretty much has to hit a free throw to put this game away.
There we go.
He does. 117-113 Knicks with 3.5 seconds to go. Knicks are going to win and take a 2-1 series lead. In this one, that is a fantastic win for the Knickerbockers.
Win, handshakes. Dexter, handshakes?
They should have a handshake.
I mean, you handshake?
Yeah.
For the Knicks win.
I thought you were talking about the Knicks. I thought you was referencing.
No, it's business.
It's business. I thought you were referencing Detroit and how back in the day they didn't want to shake Chicago's hand. And you said the Knicks might not shake their hand. I thought that's what you were going to say.
You know, we went. You know, it's just a business. You know, they had to win it.
Brunson misses the second.
It's not
going to matter.
I called a timeout.
They called the timeout. Not really going to matter here. Walter Nolan, that's a big. Some of these guys that don't get invited to the green room, man, they have a huge amount of people. And God, look at the amount of people that are there in Green Bay.
So some players that haven't been picked that are
that you like.
Yeah, that I like, but some people thought they might be picked. Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan, has injury history.
I think somebody in the chat had asked about him earlier.
Yeah, Will Johnson, someone that was rumored to go on the top 16. So we're at now the bottom half of the first round. Matthew Golden, a wide receiver I really like out of Texas. Hasn't gone. Jihad Campbell, linebacker. A lot of people's linebacker ones, most people's mine as well, out of Alabama. And then Shamar Stewart, sort of in that Jalen Walker, Michael Williams camp of like this tweener edge. People had him going top 10 because of what a freak he is physically. And staying on that freak point, Mike Green, edge out of Marshall. So those are some guys that I'm not necessarily shocked that they didn't go in the top half, but like if you were to tell somebody, Mike Green, Shamar Stewart, Matthew Golden, Jihad Campbell,
they could go,
and Will Johnson did not go in the top half of the first round. I probably wouldn't have believed you, but Walt. Now we're starting to get a little weird. Walter Nolan going 16's high for him, and I like him.
Well, maybe because now guys are taking either who they want or they say, okay, or they could also tell you maybe there's some trades on the horizon. These next couple of picks are really interesting.
We got to stay. We got to get your live reaction on the Steelers pick. The Steelers are picking soon, by the way. So.
Oh wow, that Jalen Brunson missed free throw slightly came back to her because Detroit hit a 3, and then they fouled Brunson with half a second. So he needs to hit too because you don't want some kind of rebound miracle Hail Mary. Brunson needs to hit too. You'd have felt better had he hit those both the first time. So yes, I would like to see who the Steelers pick.
You know what's interesting with the Jets? I was going to ask you, and I'm curious, Chad, or just putting it out there. How do we give Garrett Wilson any help with? I know the right tackle is important. It's going to protect your quarterback to give him as much time as he needs, but Garrett Wilson doesn't have a wide receiver 2 next to him. Yeah. Garrett Wilson doesn't have a tight end 1 next to him. I don't know what their plan is there, or plans are there because they need more than one plan there. But listen, man, you can't go into a season and maybe they're fine with kind of punting on the season. If that's a possibility for them, it might be. But where are you going with Josh Reynolds and Alan Lazard as your wide receivers 2 and 3? And then, Jeremy Ruckert and Stone Smart as your tight end room. Like, where are they going to go? Are you going to depend on a rookie? We'll see. They could have gone away with their right tackle room. They had the kid from New England, and they also had Carter Warren, who are serviceable enough to play right tackle. You get bringing Tyler Warren in, 2 Warrens we would have had actually with Carter and Tyler. It would have made some sense, especially for Justin Fields. This helps Justin Fields because you have your right tackle there.
Your right tackle there now.
But you don't have your check down guy. You don't have your wide receiver.
That's the problem. You can't get it all in the first round. You
can't.
I think that's something they should look to address on day 2.
Absolutely. But I'm just wondering how, and I had this thought the other day. I'm like, I don't know how much they're going to do for Justin Fields just because they brought him in. And they want to roll a dice.
Right, is that their guy? Is he just the bridge? The bridge guy that we're looking at?
A fill-in
guy. Yeah. And you're right. You don't know how much you're going to do for him. Now, I do think shoring up the offensive line is good for whether it's him or it's whoever it is beyond that. For sure, whatsoever. I'm also looking at this. The Bengals pick is coming up. And then Jalen Brunson looked like he tried to miss the free throw on purpose and did. And what went wrong is the official scorers ran the clock. The clock shouldn't start until somebody touches the ball. So Detroit never had a chance to rebound the ball and then toss up a shot with 0.5 of a second left, which would have been really difficult to do. But
this is the guy I was talking about.
Shamar Stewart.
Yeah, Shamar Stewart.
Okay.
Yeah, so another kind of tweener edge, Texas A&M kid.
A lot of
these tweener edges, man. These guys that they can play. Yeah. And that's becoming more and more popular. Tweener edge meaning They could play outside linebacker. They could play edge. They could play traditional DN. They could play a 3 technique.
They want that speed. They want that speed out there on the field.
They want to put a kid like this at 3 tech. He, to me, doesn't pop on film, but I like the edges later on in this draft more. David Walker. There's a couple guys I like later. But when you watch this kid on tape, yeah, he's cool. He's okay. Like I don't like, he doesn't like, if you watch him right here, right? Like, is anything like, I mean, that's a nice move. That's a nice move. Yeah. That tackle whiffed completely.
I see why people are going
I'm
for
not like, I'm not crazy about him. They say he's like a balanced player, more like a scheme kind of guy.
Now the Knicks have a chance for Heartbreak City here. There's a chance. I'm sorry.
What the hell is going on?
Because they gave Detroit the ball now with half a second. They're going to get a chance to toss it in. And you don't want to see him go for a 3. And Detroit turns it over. They threw the ball away. So the Knicks will get it back. Jalen Duren with an errant pass there. I will say, I do like this young man's fit with the green.
That's a nice
fit is clean.
These shades are flowing. These guys are killing.
It's good. He's pumped up here. A lot. This Knick game, we got to remember, folks. This Knick game started at 7:00. It is now after 10, and the Memphis OKC game is almost 5 minutes left in the first quarter.
Wow.
And this Knick game still isn't done. So it's crazy. So Stewart with a nice clean green fit. I like that. Yep. I like that there.
Shamar Stewart, only 4.5 sacks in his entire career at A&M, which is pretty weird to look at.
Only 4.5 sacks.
He had 1.5 sacks last year, 1.5 the year before, 1.5. He has 3 years of 1.5 sacks. So that's 37 games, but 19 starts. Hey, listen, man.
So he was injured a little bit. He was injured, right?
Yeah, he had some injury problems. Has a 43-yard fumble return touchdown second season, which was like a very like twitchy play that kind of put him on the map, like showing people his athleticism. Also, this, I played D-line in college. D1 AA wasn't a big deal at all, but I was actually kind of a bust.
How many sacks did you have?
I didn't have any in college because I didn't end up getting on the field. When I had my 5th year, I tore my ACL as a captain on the practice field. So I had nothing. But I will say, like, even in high school, getting sacks is hard.
Damn right.
It's not always it's not always the best number to look at when you're looking at players. Like, I'll be honest, like it's not
always a fit.
It's not.
I guess people want to see, did you get to the quarterback? But there's also a thing like how much pressure you put on the quarterback.
Yeah, especially defensive tackles.
Like, Knicks win 118 to 116. Finals over. Knicks lead 2-1 in the series. So big win for the Knicks. Detroit fought hard at the end. Handshakes, yes. I got you now. I'm not gonna leave your hand. I got you now.
Nice. That was a long game.
That was a long game. But hey, gave us something else to watch. We watched 2 things at one time. Gave us something else to watch. Big win for the Knicks. Knicks offense and their starters definitely bounced back in this one. We will have more on that in the coming days. We got some questions in the chat. Hipster Genius, who's been rocking with us all night. We thank you, Hipster Genius. Do you think the Jets could trade back into the first round for maybe a Luther Burden if he's still there at the end of the first?
Good question.
That's a good question.
I do. I think that's a possibility. I don't know if it would be for him, but it could be for a wide receiver. They need a wide receiver. So I think going back into the first round is possible. Again, that 5th-year option makes first-round picks a lot more enticing for teams. So I think the better possibility or the more likely thing is they just move up a few picks in the second round. So instead of picking at 42, maybe they pick at 36. Right. Would kind of make more sense to me. Or like because you have that extra day too. So like when the first round's over, everyone goes back home, goes through their stuff, picks up their things, and kind of like figures things out for the next day, and like more conversations happen. So I do think the Jets at some point are going to trade up to take a tight end or wide receiver that has like a higher ceiling. Luther Burden being one of them. Not my favorite wide receivers in this draft.
Not one of your favorites.
I like him. I just think he needs to go to a team that really knows how to utilize him in space. Like, he needs space. He's not going to make something out of nothing, but if you give him some space, he could really light it up because he does have that yak ability. I do like him. So
the Seahawks make a pick. We talked about them possibly being a trade partner with the Giants to move up. Interesting enough, they hold on to their pick. They take Gray Zabel of North Carolina State. So now the Buccaneers are on the clock. Gray Zabel, a guard.
Guard, tackle, hybrid, center.
Guy.
Like there's a couple of those guys in this draft. This is he's been rumored to go there for a bit, and he's been rumored to go in the top 20 now for a few days. I've been seeing like he's been a hot name kind of shooting up boards. I don't really know how good he is. I've looked at him because I don't know where he's going to play.
Yeah.
He's not really a tackle. They have him as a guard, but he played tackle. So we'll see. But Seattle's trying to get Sam Darnold as much help too.
And Ian Rappaport is saying that the Seahawks did have trade options here, so they were definitely talking to people.
Really?
He didn't say what they were, but North Dakota State, right? They take the guard, Greg Zabel.
Some people have him projected as being a center too. Yeah.
Right? So he can play all over the place. Yeah. He's stick and pick at 18. Zabel's a former lefty pitcher, threw in the low 90s.
Oh, nice.
Big time favorite among offensive line coaches, and was Seattle's top choice all along here. So now it's like, what happens in that 19? Does Tampa maybe make some moves here?
Well, if you're trying to trade up, what are you trying to? You have to think at this point, right? Like Dexter, who are they trying to trade up for?
Right, it's either good to me. It's either Shedeur or Jackson Dart.
You think so? Maybe your wide receiver, Matthew Golden.
Yeah,
he's the next kind of like guy.
Unless you're somebody who was already picked, doesn't have a pick early in the second round, and you're like, you need a wide receiver. There's some other area of need that you think you won't be able to get.
Yeah.
The thing with the QBs is, and I'm wondering if how that's affecting the conversation is, if you know a team is desperate for a QB, or if let's say you're Tampa right now, or Denver, right?
Denver doesn't need a QB. Tampa doesn't need a QB. Really,
Tampa doesn't need a QB. But what if they have information the Steelers are going to take a QB at 21?
You're right.
And they know that. Now they know how desperate you're going to be to have to get ahead of that. That drives up the price.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it really interesting in these like couple of picks. Seattle, they said there were trade options for Seattle, according to Ian Rappaport. There were trade options.
Interesting.
So I wonder if they were like somebody didn't overwhelm them. The price was high for them.
And Jordan Schultz just reported a ton of activity at the bottom of this draft with teams looking to trade
sure
down.
There's a lot of conversations.
Couple of QB
That's what I'm saying.
Making calls. So,
and he's saying at the bottom of the draft. So this is post the Steelers at 21.
Yeah.
Right? Like this, so that's really interesting. Hipster Genius also says, what do you guys think is the riskier pick? A tweener O lineman or a tweener pass rusher? I say tweener O lineman.
That's a good question.
Hipster Genius also said he's a fellow Steelers fan. He said he's very surprised no one has jumped them to get a QB.
I'll say this: a tweener O lineman that's good will eventually find a way to play somewhere, or even like gives you insurance. Like a tweener defensive lineman or edge, they can either pull it off or they can't. Like it's like the Deion Jordan thing.
I think there's a better chance of the edge pulling it off though than the lineman.
To be a starter at a spot, yes. But to get like they're either gonna start or they're not. Like they're not gonna play. Like sometimes tweener.
I see your point. Your point is like either you'll know it quickly or you'll see it. I can see that.
Yeah. Like an offensive lineman that like
I think it's clearer. I would agree with you on that.
Yes, it's clear. So I think there's benefits to getting both. Tweener edges can be a little bit difficult to kind of judge. Quinn Coples, going back to my Jets,
right?
That was a tweener DN. That was like, was he an offensive? Was he an outside linebacker? Was he a DN, the 5 tech? Was he an inside? I thought he was an inside guy. I thought he was just a bigger defensive tackle, which is kind of where that tweener. Jadeveon Clowney, another tweener defensive lineman, but they're not a traditional guy at the end.
Clowney jumped off in the video so much. Like, there was no way like anybody was, It's right.
Everybody.
It's like what
deservedly so.
Hipster Genius, I'm with you. I'm a little surprised nobody jumped the Steelers. I do say I think we still should wait and see what's going on. Bucks pick is in.
Okay, I like this pick.
Bucks pick is in. We'll let it so we won't spoil it.
Well,
let's just reset the top 16 that we have here in the NFL draft and what we've got going on with this draft so far. You're having fun. I'm glad you're having fun. It's really good. We see what the Jets and Giants did. Giants with Abdul Carter at 3. Jets with Membu at 7. This has been pretty much chalk. Our only shock, I think we really would say, is at 10, right? In the first tight end taken in this draft. That's the real shock. Everything here has been, pretty standard. I still feel like the juice can come after 16, though. That's the thing for me. I think the juice can go after 16.
Well, this pick right here
will tell a lot.
Should I spoil it or not? No, don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
I won't spoil it. But this pick right here might start a little bit of a
see now
of a run at a position. I'm just gonna let you know because everyone's kind of waiting for this next position to kind of come off the board. And
that tells me it's a wide receiver.
You're good.
That would tell me it's wide receiver. That's interesting.
Which wide receiver do you think it is?
That I can't tell you.
What school? Well, that kind of gives it away.
Golden?
No, good guess.
Don't tell me. I want to see. I'm intrigued. But okay, that's interesting with the Bucs adding another wide out there. That's interesting. Well, they kind of need to. Evans is getting up there in age. Yeah, I can see that. I can see him trying to get some more
this is a good player. This player, learning from Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Now, this player that they're drafting is one of the smartest wide receivers in football. Great route runner, exceptional hands, does everything. He reminds me, this kid, of he's like an Amari Cooper kind of wide receiver. Just always finds a way to get open. They had a stat the other day. They did like a survey with like old wide receivers, and they had like their own study they did on receivers. And this guy ranked 100 out of 100. Like he scored 100 out of 100. Excuse me. Yeah. He's really good.
Bucs pick his ends coming in. Oh,
Agbuka
from Ohio State. Ohio State. Okay. Okay.
High floor.
High floor.
Not the highest ceiling. I like wide receivers with very high ceilings. I like the flashy guys. I like the shades. I like the bling a little bit.
Where is this party happening?
Yeah,
you see the wood
that looks like a place
in
from
Lakewood, Washington.
20s.
And look at that! Look at that! What kind of wood is that in the background?
Yeah, that place kind of scares me.
We need more like behind the scenes about what people do to set up their watch parties.
Yes, I agree with that.
Like, what kind of places are they renting out? Like, for the people who are not in the green room, I need to know more about that.
Yeah, you see how good that route was?
Yeah,
nothing. Listen, he's not going to do anything.
I love a good route.
Yeah, like look how good his routes are. That's a perfect look. Dragging up. I mean, he's not burning you. He's not like doesn't look like Tyreek Hill out there, but. Not that anybody does, but like Matthew Golden runs under a 4.3 he ran.
Right.
So like
he's not a speedster.
Yeah, he's nothing crazy, but he's always there. Amari Cooper, right? Like he'll be there. He's gonna run the right route. Will Howard loved him. They won a national championship using him, and obviously Jeremiah Smith, the other stud they have there. But this kid's just a quality wide receiver, and sometimes go with the high floor. Forget about the high ceiling.
Hipster Genius guessed Agbuka. He was correct.
He did. Yeah, nice. Good guess.
He did guess Agbuka. So good one. I still want to know more about Agbuka's watch party. That place looks kind of dope. They look like they're having fun. And you see Todd Bowles in the Buccaneers draft room. Here's the thing. We show these draft room videos all the time. Like, is there ever a draft room where they make the pick and everybody's like, ugh. I don't know. Or somebody there is disgruntled, like, yeah, I told y'all not to pick him. Because, it's that everybody doesn't always agree. But then you never see that. Like, is there somebody back there that's just mad, like, man, pick this person. You didn't even want this.
Well, speaking of that, like, there was reports about the Giants that there were people there that were pounding the table, like, weeks ago for them to get Shedeur Sanders, like, loved them, and there was people that hated him. So, I mean... That was a conversation. That was.
I have to say this. So, we're watching the Egba draft party. I believe that if Agbuka draft party, there's a bunch of people that looked at that room and did not expect half the room to look like what he did, and the other half of the room looked like that. If you just based it on his last name, you did not think the room was going to look like that.
Yeah, I kind of just know.
I was just like, oh. And I see his parents there, and I was like, oh, okay, I see. You can clearly see that one half of the family, the other half of the family does not look the same. But it's, but yeah, Agbuka, congrats to you. You guys look like you had a really nice place lined up there.
The thing the thing about Agbuka that kind of I wish he did was he didn't run the 40, so he didn't participate in that. And I'm curious.
Do you think he could have improved the stock? Or he just like, yo, I'm not a speedster.
I don't know. I think he's not a speedster. He didn't run it, but like, it could be concerning. Like if he ran like a 4.55,
you might be like,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's the second wide receiver if you don't count Travis Hunter. Let's not count Travis Hunter. He's in his own boat. He's really the second natural wide receiver really in this draft to go. And I think, and there's someone Dom C, who I confide in with some draft stuff because he's very good. He loves him. He thinks he's the best wide receiver in this class. So,
best in the class.
Yeah, I think he has him as wide receiver.
But he looks like he has good hands and runs good routes. I mean, like you always need a guy like that.
Yeah,
you don't love him that way.
You know, I love guys like Kyle Williams. I love guys that are like speedster burners, like give you that whole.
You like the high ceiling.
I do. I like DK Metcalf, for example, out of college. I like that for my wide receivers. Now I've been burned with that before because I've liked wide receivers that haven't worked out. But for him, I don't know if he's going to give you that much value, but he'll be there. And that's, I think, the important thing is, in 2, 3, 4 years, you need a wide receiver 2, or you need a slot guy.
He can be that
He'll
guy.
be there. Kyle Williams may not be in a roster, and obviously Kyle Williams is like a day 2, day 3 guy, but it's a different thought process there. But yeah. Mel's best available. Now, Mel Kiper, he has Shedeur Sanders as best available. Second, he has Will Johnson. Third, Marion Hampton. I told people, specifically 2 of these guys, Shedeur Sanders and Marion Hampton, are overrated prospects. I said it, and I'm not saying I was right because I don't know. They might be great. But you watch them on tape, and Mel Kiper loved these guys. And I didn't. And this doesn't mean anything where they're drafted, but Shedeur has got to go to the right team. And
do you like him? Do you like him in Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh could take him.
Is Arthur Smith going to be there? Is Mike Tomlin going to, I just don't know who's going to be there. If I trust Pittsburgh as a franchise, so I think if they got Shedeur, I think they'll find an OC or they'll find a head coach in 2 or 3 years, assuming Tomlin goes. I don't think he should, but he might.
I trust the franchise.
I trust the ownership. I don't know.
I have to say, if they take him, and there's no Aaron Rodgers, which I hope there's not, but if they take him, they got to be right.
Yeah.
Listen, it hurt my soul. My guy Kenny Pickett didn't work out. It did not work out for the Steelers. I want to see the Pitt guy work out there. It didn't happen. You can't have it. That'll be twice in 4 years you drafted a quarterback in the first round around the same area, and then it misses. You can't have that. That would be terrible.
So Broncos pick is terrible. And this player was rumored to go to the Jets for a little bit.
Ooh.
I won't spoil.
According to Jordan Schultz, the Giants have been trying to trade to get back into round 1. They've been so I'm not going to use the word because aggressive wasn't there, but they've been trying to trade to get back in round 1. Now, I'd love to know what teams they were talking to, who they were talking to.
That smells like Jackson Dart to me. Maybe Shedeur Sanders, but smells like Jackson Dart.
Who they think they got him? You see Matthew Golden on the screen here.
This is surprising for me because if you look at Matthew Golden, there is something missing on tape. There's a lot to be desired.
You don't like the speed?
No, I love the speed. And listen, Matthew Golden was one of the first, I think, offensive players in this draft that I looked at, and I was just like, he stood out to me. The speed is 4.29, but he doesn't play like he runs a 4.29. Little undersized, 5'11". Yeah, not saying he's short, but you wish he had an extra inch there. I don't know. There's the production. He didn't have 1,000 yards last year. Although Texas. Mm-hmm. They give it to everybody. So, I mean, you had good Gunnar Helm there. I really like, but
they spread it around a lot.
Yeah, this pick's interesting because J.D. Barron coming into the draft was somebody that, like us Jeff fans, were joking around about them drafting. Dane Brugler has him as his cornerback 3. I really like him. He does a little bit of everything. He's a fluid kind of corner. Has high football IQ. He's just a natural athlete out there. Can make tackles too. He can be a little bit over aggressive as a corner, try and kind of look at the quarterback a little bit too long and get like the double pump. Yeah, like he'll try to be a little too cute sometimes out there, and it'll burn him, which happens to ball hawking style corners, which he is to a degree. But good pick. Denver's offense is fine with their quarterback.
And also,
there.
Listen, I was surprised with what they did with Bo Nix.
I was
surprised at how I wasn't super high on Bo Nix, but played really well. And the defense has already been impressive for the Broncos.
Yes.
So you wonder how much this kid can help get better. J.D. Barron in that. And his watch, where is he in Austin, Texas with that many people?
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot.
So he's actually a fifth-year senior. So he's a little bit older, which you're seeing a lot more.
J.D. Barron up here.
Yeah, J.D. Barron's almost 24 years old.
Yeah. But you like the speed you hear. You like what he did last year. Really impressive numbers here. And if he has that kind of potential, right, where you're looking at a guy like you don't want to throw his way, or you can see how he can break on the ball.
Yeah,
that's really
look at that 40 time. Dexter, 4.39, 67 tackles. That's a lot for a corner. You have almost 70 tackles. You have 5 interceptions, 4.39. I mean, those numbers speak for themselves. Look at him. I mean, he was somebody. I don't know if I had him on my 15 guys I love list. No, I didn't, but I was going to put him on there.
But at least you liked him.
I liked him a lot. He was right. If I had 16 guys, he might have been the 16.
He might have been there. He looks like he's got a good nose for the ball too, right? Like you kind of see that with him too. And then even on the play where he's got a good eye in terms of watching the quarterback. That could be a good pick from the Broncos. There, we will see if our editor here.
The Steelers have made their pick.
All right, this one I'm going to cheat. And wait, don't tell me.
All right, go away. Hold on. Guess the position. I'm gonna give you 3 guesses on the position.
You're not going to get it. Telling me that it's not quarterback.
Nope.
They didn't go quarterback, so they went wide receiver.
Nope.
Wow. They went linebacker then.
Nope.
I mean, the offensive line is a bit better. I don't think they would go there.
It's not offensive line. You're right.
Corner.
Nope. I would have taken. It might have been my
safety.
No, sir.
I don't know who that would have been.
They went defensive tackle, baby.
I mean,
no, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Cameron Hayward's getting
older, so
this guy can learn. So they got Derek Harmon.
Okay.
Derek Harmon's big boy. I actually like him a lot. Oregon kid. I think learning from Cameron Hayward is a good role model for him. He's young. He's 21, 6'4", 313.
I actually like this pick.
I do too.
I thought they might go linebacker, but I did think they needed to start thinking about the defensive line. So I kind of like that they did that. See the Steelers fans out here.
Listen, I'll tell you right now, you cannot tell me that Mason, if you watch Derek Harmon's tape and Mason Graham side by side, you cannot tell me Mason Graham is clear.
You love this pick for the Steelers.
It's a great pick, I think. It's a great value pick. Listen, don't get cute. Get value sometimes. There's nothing cute. Yeah, should they, if they're going to get off of Pickens, maybe Matthew Golden makes sense, but they just got DK. Maybe tight end. They could have looked somewhere because Freiermuth, is he like good enough to be your tight end?
He had a good year in Arthur Smith's offense. So
you kind of want more, though.
I would like more.
Maybe running back. They could have got something, get some more. So I'm an offensive guy. I want offense, especially for them. But get the best defensive tackle left on the market.
I don't have a
Derek
problem.
Harmon.
I don't mind this pick.
It's BPA. He probably right now, if you take, let's say, Will Johnson out of the equation because of his injury history, he probably is the best defensive guy available right there.
I'm not mad at it. The Steelers, you can say the Steelers defense is good and they didn't need it, but Cam Hayward's getting older and they still need a quarterback. But I think finding his successor
I like the
was
pick.
Really, I'm fine with the pick. Hipster Genius is in here. He said, I'm not mad at it because it's not a QB again. I understand.
Yep.
I understand. I like the pick. Listen, but I'm going to go back to Brian Costello's point.
Check his tape out, by the way. This kid's a freak. He had 5 sacks last year, too, which guys his size usually don't get.
Yeah, right.
5 sacks is Mason Graham, who everyone thinks is like some sack guy, had 3.5 last year. Newsflash, he's not. This guy, I could see in the future this guy being the best defensive tackle out of this class.
Wow,
there is a path there.
That's gonna make
he's a beast, bro. People
6'4"
you have Derek Harmon truthers out there. People love this dude, man. People think this guy should have gone in the top 10. I mean, you watch him, he's just a beast, dude. He's just bigger than everybody.
Hey, I'm look, we had a great one in Cam Hayward. I'm fine with it. Shout out to my friend Jackie Ray in here. She said I'm a Saints fan. Rightfully, I forgot all about this draft. Jackie, I love you and understand because it's the Saints. We understand. We completely understand.
Pittsburgh.
I can see it. Like, listen, but now this tells me because now we're past the Steelers, right?
Yep.
And you're looking at these next couple of teams. Chargers don't need a quarterback. Green Bay doesn't need a quarterback. Minnesota doesn't need a quarterback. Is Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart not going in the first round? They might not go in the first round.
Oh, man, I find that still hard to believe. So
the Steelers have to be looking at this and thinking they could have got somebody. We can get somebody in the second or third round here.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
I mean, Steelers don't have a second round pick, but
gun to my head, someone's going to trade up or in the back, the first round. Someone's going to move up and take Jackson Dart. But like I predicted, I don't. Shedeur Sanders has too many what ifs on and off the field. Just being honest.
Off the field,
Dexter,
what guy. Are you concerned with him about off the field?
Do you want me to be honest with you?
Yes.
I think he's an asshole. Like not in a good way.
Let me ask you.
And it's fine. I thought Johnny Manziel was an asshole too, and I thought Baker.
Johnny Manziel can't keep his ass out.
And am I allowed to say asshole? Is that fine?
That's fine.
All right. I thought Baker was also an asshole, and I didn't like him for that. I thought Josh Rosen was an asshole. So I'm not picking on Shedeur for any other reason that I think he's an asshole. I think he's cocky. He's a cocky asshole. He's a guy that you do not want to, when you have a beer with him, he's going to talk about himself the entire time and how cool he is, and you're just sick of it.
Do we
That's
care
what I think
if
about
guys are assholes if they win?
No, we don't.
You don't.
Okay.
If he wins,
I think Peyton Manning was kind of an asshole too, but he
Who do you not think is an asshole?
So I think I'm an asshole.
No. Hey, talk about yourself.
No. I'm just saying, like, do you know what I'm saying? Though?
I don't.
It's like rubbing people the wrong way.
I love his confidence. I love Shedeur's confidence. I love it.
It's too much. It's like he's phony to me. He doesn't seem like he doesn't seem like he's a genuine like Tom Brady's like a confident like jerk, like in a good way. Like Shedeur's like trying too much. Like at the combine, he was trying. He's always talks about himself. Oh, we're gonna have diamonds when I get drafted. It's gonna be a diamond party. Like, what are you talking about?
You don't
like. I'm just like I just
want
don't
a diamond
like him.
Party?
I don't even know, dude. I don't know what he. I think he tries to come across as something he's not, and I think I think the guy's confident. I think the guy is a winner in what he did at Jackson State. You don't see this?
No, at Colorado. Look at the numbers. 353 out of 477 74% completion percentage, 4,000 yards. I have questions about the arm. 37 pass TDs, 10 interceptions, ran for 14.
The numbers are great.
He's not overly
athletic. Numbers are great at Colorado.
I do think he needs to be in the right situation. But I like the kid's moxie. I think here's what I'm going to say. And
you wanted Pittsburgh to draft him so
I did
bad.
want the Steelers to draft him. The Steelers might still take him in some way. I did want the Steelers to take him.
See, I tried to make you feel good with Derek
I
Harmon.
think whoever gets Shedeur Sanders, I'm going to say this.
Don't go on a limb here.
I don't feel like I might be, you know what?
You're going to regret saying
I might be on a limb by myself.
Say it, go ahead,
I don't care. I think whoever gets Shedeur Sanders is a lot of teams are going to regret their past. I really do. I think they're going to regret it because I've never seen so much smoke for a guy who I think is actually he's not perfect. Do I think he's good? Yes. I think he could be a good NFL quarterback like any other quarterback in the right system. You know who I thought could have been a good quarterback?
No,
and the Jets drafted him and it didn't work out. Geno Smith.
Agreed.
Look at what Geno Smith has done in the right system.
I agree with you. Dude, I wanted Geno Smith. I thought Geno Smith should have been arguably the first pick in that draft. And he was argued to go there.
Again,
I love Geno. Dude, I love
Geno
out of West Virginia. Dude, I love Geno. So
I did too, and I don't like West Virginia. So
what's the difference between Geno Smith and Shedeur Sanders? Geno Smith doesn't lock in on Travis Hunter, who's bailing him out every time. Although he did have Tavon Austin and some other guys. And Stedman Bailey.
When you're drafting somebody, the question is, do you think they can get better at those things? In the right, Can that be coached out?
Shedeur Sanders athletically, his arm and his legs, good enough to overcome what I think is a personality flaw in for an NFL locker room team and for himself, thinking he's God's gift to quarterback.
But
I think it's a mixture that is gonna be.
My pushback on that is
it's poisonous.
And I won't say the reporter's name, but
I'm sorry to say, and listen, he's been extremely successful already in his life. He's
absolutely
from Jackson State, from an HBCU
to Colorado.
Like, dude, nobody does that. And you're rumored to go in the first overall and go to the first round. Shout outs, dude. You've done something that most athletes, professional athletes, haven't done. I'm not shitting on the guy. I just don't understand why people like me saying he's a second round pick.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's all I'm saying. He's not a top. I told people he's not a top 10 pick. And I got killed. You saw my tweet. I got killed for it. Like I was like, I was talking badly about like a religious figure. I
don't think it was crazy to say he's not a top 10 pick. I think he can be a good quarterback. I do believe he can be. I really do believe that. I do think he can be a good quarterback. I really, truly believe that, right? And for me, a lot of it is I think he's actually, I know people talk about all the stuff with him and his personality, and I think people go way too much in that. I do not think it would divide a locker room. You've never heard any of the guys at Colorado, everybody speaks highly of this kid.
That's true.
So I don't know where this is coming from around him. I do not think he'll divide an NFL locker room.
All right. Listening to some of his first of all right.
I want a quarterback to say, I'm going to win.
He's not funny, first off. Like, he tries to be funny, and everything's flat and lame. He's lame.
You do not like Shadeur Sanders.
No, I just think he's lame. Like, even the way he was wearing his hat, like, bro, who wears it? Wear it backwards. Like, you wore it, like, sideways. Like, I haven't seen someone wear that in, like, 10, 15 years. I don't know.
Will Smith on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That style's like old, dude. That's like
he's trying to bring it back, man. He's trying to be a renaissance man.
That's his whole thing. He's trying to be like this trendsetter, and I don't think he's got it. I just don't.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
I don't care about the backwards.
I
used to wear my hat like that in high school, by the way.
So let the youngins do what the youngins are gonna do.
That was also 18 years ago. But damn, that's a long time ago.
I know.
I don't know. Something's just off with him. He's like tries so hard to he wants to revolutionize, and he revolutionized Colorado, although they went 13-12, and he didn't it would be one ranked team, but I'm not going to get into it.
Well, no, UTCU wasn't ranked. Opening.
No, yeah. He was they 1-7 with him, but listen, his team kind of stunk. Outside of Travis Hunter, they didn't really have crazy talent. I don't know, man.
To me, that's why.
I'll be honest. I don't want him to be bad. You might think I want him to be bad for me to say. I told you I was right. I'm not that.
No, you're not rooting for that.
I'm not. But I want everyone to.
I look at the numbers here, and the numbers are part of why what you talked about. He didn't have all that talent in Colorado. When you look at these numbers, 74% completion percentage, the yards he passed for the TDs.
I'm just saying, you can't force your hand with GMs like him. Like he's trying to, and his father, Dion's trying to. You can't force your way into going in the top 10 or going second or going third. I just think they did too much. I think the tweeting was too much. I think it turned people off. You know what I mean? Just let it happen. Go out, let your tape speak for itself. It was like a media tour. And
my problem.
Do you agree with that a little bit?
No. Here's what I don't.
Well, obviously it's not helping.
No, but it's not. But my problem with that is people were fine when Eli Manning and his family forced their way to the Giants. Why are we okay with that?
But yeah, it's a little bit of the social media era, and obviously you're going to look at them versus the Mannings, and it's like a royal family versus a new age.
His father is one of the greatest quarterbacks.
No, I know. I'm just saying the Mannings are this, and I agree.
I'm just saying nobody should get a pass for it. Is what my point is. I don't like the forcing your way to the.
It was a little. It was just my grandfather used to tell me not to get into this conversation.
That's fine.
My grandfather used to say, you know what, too much is worse than not enough.
So you think he was doing too much?
He was doing way too much. Way too much. The YouTube series he had with Cam Ward was way too much. Cam went one. You're still waiting to get picked. Your dad getting involved was way too much. Just let it happen organically was my problem. The tweeting, the eyeball emoji with all the Saints are looking at him. Just let it happen. Marion Hampton. All right, this is an interesting pick
for the Chargers.
Yeah. He reminds me of
second running back in draft.
No, who is the kid Ryan's? They got a running back years ago. Ryan Matthews. Remember Ryan Matthews? That was drafted. Ironically, was also drafted by the Chargers. He reminds me of him. And I personally, not my favorite running back in this class. People like him. I think this was a bad pick by the Chargers. I'll just go on a limb. But it could work there because they have Joe Alt, they have Rashawn Slater, they have Justin Herbert, they have Ladd McConkey, and they have probably one of the best coaches in football right now, especially offensively. But to me, you look at him, nothing really like watch his tape, nothing to me like, I don't know. He's good, but he doesn't.
Is it good value?
Yeah, he doesn't pop off for me. Like he does some. I mean, he's got some good runs, but like he's a little stiff. I don't know. I'm being too much of a hater right now.
Hater Frankie.
I'm just being honest. Dude, you have people that love every draft pick, and then you go back in time and you look back and like literally 25% hit, and you're like, wow, like this analyst loved 85%. Like I'm just being real. Like I just
and we're gonna get some of these right.
But Travion Henderson comes on, you'll see me.
You'll see it. Get him out of your seat and be excited. Hipster Genius is still rocking with us. He said he's not mad. Oh, sorry, I read you wrong. Comment, Hipster Genius. I read that one for you already. You said I love Deion when he played, but as a parent, he's LeVar Ball 2.0. I think that's a little harsh.
He's not that bad.
I was not a fan of LeVar Ball. I'm gonna give you that. I thought he was a bit too much. I don't think he's that. I think what I'll say to that, Hipster, is Deion loves him some Deion. I think we all could agree with that. Deion loves him some Deion.
Shadeur loves him some Shadeur.
Yeah, and the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree on that.
True.
I have no problem with people loving themselves. I think you should believe in yourself as much as you can, be as confident as you can. That doesn't bother me. I think when we start talking about parenting, it's about development. And I'm saying this as somebody who's a parent, not of a grown child at that point, but how hands-on are you? Are you allowing them to grow? I think a little bit of what Frankie's saying, there's truth to that, right? Like how much are you stunting the process or the development? Because I think there's a thing now in, Frankie, you can tell me if you agree with this, I think around youth sports in particular, before we even get to college, before we even get to the pros, there's a lot of parents that they want to be part of it. They want to be part of the scene. And
they want to live through their
kids. They want to live through their kids. And granted, Deion has had a fantastic career. He's a Hall of Famer, one of the best cornerbacks of all time. There's no doubt about that. But I think that sometimes you have to let your kids grow on their own. I'm not telling anybody how to parent. I know that's a sore subject there for people
for sure, man.
When you say that.
Well
but
said.
I
agree with you. 100%.
I think sometimes you got to sometimes I do think there's a pulling back. I think Deion has the best interest or wants the best things for his son. I think Deion has done good things for the programs he's been a part of, although I had some issues with how he left Jackson State. But I think with all that being said, I don't think Deion is quite as bad there with the situation.
He's not.
With his son. But I do think maybe, and I'm intrigued to see how this happens. This is why I think it does matter where Shedeur goes.
Yep.
To make this point that I'm making. I think if Shedeur is in a situation where an organization, and I will tell you, I don't think this would happen in Pittsburgh. I don't think it would happen in someplace like Green Bay. Shedeur's not going to Green Bay, but you get the point I'm making.
Well, Green Bay apparently right now is getting calls. And then the Chargers were also getting calls. And we were talking about the team before that was also getting. So there's teams now calling to try to move up. Who? I don't know. Is it the same team? Or is it the same couple teams?
Could be the Giants. Remember the Giants? The Giants are the team you really
got
to watch.
May be looking.
I think if the Giants, say this bluntly. I think if the Giants can get into the end of the first round and they take Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Hart, I think it is good for that young quarterback, whoever it is, to sit behind Russell Wilson, to sit behind Jameis Winston.
I agree with you.
And maybe sit for a year and learn.
Definitely.
I think it's a great developmental situation for whoever the young quarterback take, whoever they like. Could be Jackson Hart, could be Shedeur.
100%.
I think that's a good situation to bring young guys in that, to your point, I would love to see more teams do.
When the Jets drafted Zach Wilson second overall, right, they felt the need to have to play him in his first year. If you look at that Jets roster, it was awful. It's one of the worst rosters you can possibly compile together for a young quarterback coming from Utah, BYU. The kid wasn't ready for those lights. The kid wasn't ready for an NFL locker room. That kid's a fish out of water.
You're
going to put him with Ryan Griffin
Do you remember who you wanted though?
Michael Carter.
Who do you
I wanted Penei Sewell.
You wanted Penei Sewell in that draft.
I did, but I was listen. I'm always fine with the quarterback if you have a plan because that's as important as it is. So
I agree with that.
Even right now, like if the Giants come up and take Shedeur, I think that's a good pick
because you like that they have a plan.
Yes,
a development plan.
Yeah, if they're able to sit him for a year or two, go for the quarterback.
If that's the plan,
yeah,
right, that's a good point.
If that's a plan, if it's not, you're gonna screw yourself. San Francisco got bailed out by their own medicine when they did it with Trey Lance. But they had Brock Purdy.
Which they let's be real. They didn't know.
No, they had no idea.
Nobody knew.
That's getting lucky. Now, Kyle Shanahan can develop a quarterback, so there was a higher likelihood that he would be able to develop Brock Purdy than any other team. So he could have gotten. There was a better chance he would have gotten lucky. With a 7th round pick at quarterback. But
we're getting multiple reports. The homie Josina Anderson just also reporting that the Giants are trying to get back into the first round. Ian Rappaport also reporting that the Packers are getting trade calls similar to the Chargers at number 22. The Packers at 23 are also getting trade calls here as well too. So
Joe Klatt just went off on the narratives around Shedeur Sanders.
Also, Ian Rappaport said the Steelers in their camp were split on Shedeur Sanders.
Wow.
In their draft room.
I'm telling you right now, and I'm not just saying this out of anything against Shedeur. They made the right pick, the Steelers. Derek Harmon, that pick right there just is
Packers are staying put as 23 here.
I'm calling wide receiver Matthew Golden. I'm just going off.
I mean, that feels like a Packers pick, though, right?
Yeah, I think or tight end, maybe. Maybe running back too. They need someone on offense. You
can see that Packers pick is in. Hipster Genius said this pick means you talking about the Chargers pick.
I've been off on these.
They've had no faith in Najee Harris, who they signed in free agency. Well, Hipster Genius,
I got it.
Fan.
I called it. I hit that. Let's go.
It felt like a Packers pick. It felt the Packers
Let's
pick.
go. I felt that pick. All right.
Shout out to you, Jets Nation NYC.
I'm not too off right now. I called that pick. All right. It's Matthew Golden.
I like it.
Jets. I did not cheat on that pick, by the way. I just saw it on my phone, so it's still not on the TV. But I think they got Matthew. Yeah, they are.
Jets Nation NYC said, great stream. You guys are rocking out. Thank you for rocking out with us. We appreciate you. Hipster Genius says Brock Purdy is the only relevant Mr. Irrelevant ever. I like that. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right, Hipster.
We have a tweet from Nick Spano, by the way.
Nick Spano, what up?
Nick Spano has tweeted. He goes, most boring effing team about the Jets. Draft O-line every year and still can't score 20 points. I mean, he ain't wrong.
Well, he ain't wrong, but I mean, that might have something to do with the fact they haven't got the quarterback right. Right? You're not wrong, Nick. You're not wrong about this at all. I understand what you're saying. I understand. You got the protection, but you don't have the quarterback.
Yeah,
so I
agree.
I get it. I understand.
So just a little recap, Dexter. Last 5 picks before Matthew Golden, we have Gray Zabel, so the guard / tackle / even center, going to the Seahawks. Agbuka joining a pretty stacked wide receiver room. Ohio State kid going to Tampa. J.D. Barron, rumored to be going to the Jets earlier this week, but that was obviously not true. But he goes to Denver, kind of help out that team. Oh, this guy went to my college, Colgate, by the way.
I did.
Yeah. The Packers guy. Forgot his name, actually. It shows how much I care. Derek Harmon. Mark Murphy. There we go.
Colgate a lot. Mark Murphy. Yeah. There we go.
Derek Harmon. Telling you, bro, that's a good pick. Steelers always get it done with guys in the front 7. They know what they're doing there. They know how to
look. I trust the Steelers.
Yes,
I trust the leadership. I trust Mike Tomlin. I know some of y'all still on the coach. You tell me that's a good pick. I hadn't seen a lot of Harmon, but you tell me they're getting a guy that can replace Cam Hayward down the road, who's 35 years old. Who's a great all-time great Steeler. I'm absolutely fine with it.
Yes, sir. So yeah, apparently I just got this in.
The
Vikings are now on the clock at 24 and very interested.
Now the Vikings are an interesting team to trade. Maybe
they're open to trading down.
Open to trading down.
So this is a hot spot for a team to trade up.
It's a very interesting situation there with the Vikings.
These picks take forever.
The NFL's got
they have the pick is in for 5 minutes. You wait. Come on. You're you know what? When you said it earlier on the stream, I'm like, dude, it's just how the draft is.
No,
I actually agree with you. The 10 minutes is fine, but this whole production stuff. This isn't Netflix. Get the damn picks in. Everything's got to be a show now. I'd rather not even watch this, to be honest.
And I think
show the highlights and let us.
I agree. I think people
chill.
People want us to get.
How long is this guy talking?
Before you even made the pick.
Look, they turned them off. Good.
Well,
they are in Green Bay. Sorry, what were you saying?
They weren't gonna do that to him. They're not disrespect him like that. No, I'm just like, make the pick.
Yeah, it's a good.
Give us some highlights and analysis. Let's get to the next pick. There should not be 10 minutes between the picks. 5 minutes max in all drafts between picks.
Yep.
That's it. There should not be 10 minutes between the picks. We understand what you're doing. We could call out ESPN. You want to stretch it out so it's an event and it's a show. Matthew Golden, shout out to you. The fit is dope.
My wide receiver one.
Your wide receiver.
My wide receiver one goes 23rd.
23rd. You think he's the best wide receiver in this?
Yeah, I do. I think he's got the most upside out of any of these guys. I think higher ceiling than Ted McMillan. I keep using this higher ceiling, higher floor, but it's easy to kind of understand. He can be better. He can be a guy that looks like an Odell Beckham in a few years on an NFL field. Not as explosive, but something like that. Tet's not. But Tet is going to be Michael Pittman Jr., and this kid might be Elijah Moore.
That's it.
So that's how I'm thinking about it.
I get that.
No,
that makes a lot of sense. And I think he's with Jordan Love, he's with a good quarterback. I feel like he's in a good situation. He's getting drafted right where he will play in Green Bay. Yeah. So that's a good situation.
They have a stacked wide receiver room.
They do.
They don't have necessarily one guy. They're looking for one guy.
Maybe he emerges as that guy. There's an opportunity for somebody to emerge as that guy. A Vikings pick is in.
Okay.
Here. I think it's hilarious when these dudes just dap up Roger Goodell like extra hard. Like just super excited to see Roger Goodell. Mark Murphy's there, like, great. You got fireworks going on in Green Bay. Is that downtown Green Bay? I don't see no buildings.
Yeah, I don't see anything down there. That looks like a concert.
I have to talk to Brian Costello more about this because I want to know. All he mentioned that there was to do was stuff around Lambeau. What else do you do in Green Bay?
There's a town outside of Green Bay that a lot of people stay at. Apparently, they don't have a lot of room.
Yes.
But I've heard, I don't know what it's called. It starts with an A, a Marion or something.
Yeah, but I have heard this from other people who've covered the NFL. It is incredibly hard to fly into Green Bay.
Yes.
And with all these people here for the draft, that's the thing. I mean, I'm glad for Green Bay. The business is probably amazing. The bars are going to be open. It's booming. They've never had this many people come to Green Bay for what? What?
No. I don't know. I was talking to people that have been there. They go, I don't know how they're going to be able to hold this many people. Like the Airbnbs and like stuff. It's like, it's just, the stadium looks like it's in like someone's backyard. Like it's
crazy. This is the first wide receiver, Matthew Golden.
I have some breaking news.
That has been picked by the Packers since 2002. They've picked.
Wow. So this next pick.
I thought it was a trade. I'm disappointed.
No, it's not. It's not. People aren't offering enough. This next pick is the most surprising pick of the first round because this player
most surprising pick of the first round
for me, at least. I didn't have this player
more than Warren not going as a first tight end. More surprising than that?
Yeah, I think so.
Huh.
This guy is good, but I didn't think he was going to go this high.
You didn't think he would go this high?
Yeah. He went to a good school. Went to one of the best schools. He went to the national champion, so I can understand the thought here, but the Vikings were trying to trade down. But listen, I don't understand if a team's trying to trade up. Are people asking for that much? I mean, the player Minnesota
people know what they want to trade up for.
The player that Minnesota just drafted, you'll see in a second, is somebody they could have gotten, I think, at 35. So I don't know, or wherever.
Did they get intel that somebody else was going to take him?
That's the
thing. That's the thing. We sometimes don't know.
All right, they drafted. I'm just going to say they drafted Donovan Jackson, tackle out of Ohio State. Wasn't top 5 on my board as a tackle. So the only two tackles that have gone so far, I believe, are Will Campbell and Armin Membu. So he's the third tackle off the board. Josh Simmons, who's also from Ohio State, has injury problem, but Josh Simmons is a Trent Williams ceiling guy. Donovan Jackson's good. I'm surprised, but hey, the Vikings, They have a good system there offensively. They
Kevin
had Josh
O'Connell
McCown there.
job.
They have KOC there, Kevin O'Connell. They know what they're doing, so maybe they see something. And I don't think Donovan Jackson is bad, but interesting. I mean, they have him as a tackle. Some people have him as a guard. So he's 6'3", 317. Didn't run the 40, which is a common thing. Guys are I'm not running the 40.
Not doing that. You're not gonna get my speed out there.
He was first team All-American.
I get it, because guys don't want to slip, and they don't want anything that can be taken as a detriment. So they know what they run. And that's it.
Oh, breaking news from Jordan Schultz.
Hold on, don't tell me. I just got
the Giants are coming up.
The Giants are trading back up into the first round, people.
Wow. Dun, dun, dun. The Giants are on the clock.
Oh, man. So they traded with Houston.
Yes, traded with Nick Caserio, a guy who, as they say, he's got ants in his pants, always looking to move around.
We're not going to spoil this pick for you guys watching. We're not going to spoil the pick for you.
I know who I think it
there.
is.
Giants are coming up. You think it's Shedeur, of course.
No, I don't. I think it's the other quarterback.
Giants.
The Giants are trading up with the Rams, somebody said.
That's interesting because
so Houston is picking. So I think, are they on the clock? I think the Giants.
Houston is on the clock right now. They did trade with the Texans.
Okay, there's two different reports. I mean, not that it matters, but
it'll get sorted out. We will know very, very soon what this is. It is the Texans. They did trade the pick to New York. That is now confirmed.
It's not the
so
Rams.
the Giants will be picking at 25. We are going to see what they have here. I gotta say, Adam Schefter, as somebody who does rock this most times, if you're gonna do the hoodie with the blazer,
I don't like this fit.
You can't do the hoodie with the blazer and then the collared shirt and tie underneath. What are we doing?
Yeah, you're right.
What are we doing? Like, that's not how you do it, man. I wear it. I know how to do it. That's not how you do it. The hoodie with the pick a lane, bro. Either you're gonna be dressy or you're gonna be semi-casual. You can't be trying to mix them up.
The Giants trading up. That's a big kahunas move. I like this.
Giants trade 25 in exchange for 34, 99, and a third rounder in 2026. Excuse me, the Texans trade 25 for the Giants in exchange.
You know what? I like that. That's a smart move. Smart. They gave up a third rounder basically.
So you have a second rounder, a third rounder.
They didn't,
and a third rounder next year. Second rounder this year, third.
Well, they gave up their pick this year, right?
Right.
Yeah, they gave their pick this year. Then they gave their third rounder. So they gave their second and third to move up to the end of the first. If they're going to get a quarterback, which I assume they are, they're going to have
next year's third, right?
Yeah, I think I know who they're getting, but I'm not going to say anything. Well, I'm not going to spoil it anyway. Good thing we stayed on the stream.
It is.
Well, we got a live reaction.
We're gonna get,
Brandon's going to come on, maybe. No?
Yeah, we're gonna figure it
out. Oh, all right. You see this? You get anything?
Not I haven't seen yet, but I'm seeing. We're not going to spoil for the people.
All right. So my tweet, I will say this: my tweet that I tweeted before the draft did come.
Show me. I just want to know.
This tweet came true.
Actually, I'm not. I'm just going to watch it.
All right.
Not be spoiled.
This tweet came true.
I'm just going to watch. The pick is in for the Giants, folks.
Here, I'll you want
No, don't.
All right. I told you.
I just saw it, so it got spoiled for me anyway. It got spoiled. I was
going to say, there's no way you're on your phone.
It sucked.
But what did I say? Look. But what did I say?
Yes.
All right. I mean, listen, that's not like a crazy thought, but
no.
Wow. You know what?
We're gonna announce it to the people.
Good for them.
But I think this is
exactly what they need to do. And I don't even love the kid, but this is.
It's very interesting. Getting a lot of messages from a lot of people and talking back and forth with some of our some of our folks here.
Well, on the U Stadium app, a lot of my takes did hit because I had this guy going before the other guy and this guy going in the first round. So we said it. We said it before the show. We all sat down. Don't be surprised the Giants trade up
and they
in the first round to get this guy specifically. And we won't tell you who the guy is.
And we were on it.
Everyone knows who it is.
I think
I'll let you or somebody else announce it because
I think that is up, and we see these trade details right now with the Giants and what they were able to do. And I think I don't think this is a steep price. I think this is
this is exactly the price of doing business.
Yeah, to get up in the first round, to get 25, to give Texans get 34.99, and then next year's third round pick. I don't think that's bad at all. I don't think that's bad.
And you get the 5th-year option with this kid.
With whoever you get in at quarterback, you get that 5th-year option. So I think the cost of business there. The Giants clearly had a plan here. They wanted to get the best value they could at 3. Then they wanted to try to get a quarterback later in it. And I think the thing is, it goes back to what we were talking about, Frankie, in the fact that with this pick and moving back up into this, is this a guy you're going to allow to develop in this quarterback room, which could be a good quarterback room?
Seems a little bit of a weird room, right? With this kid.
Well, you got Russell. I felt like the quarterback room was going to be weird.
Utah Mormon. People know. Come on.
We're good. But you know what? How he fits in, his vibe is a little different. You know what I mean?
It might be good though. I mean, listen, Russell Wilson. I don't know if he's got the he's a little weird vibe himself.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
it's kind of a cool room though. You know what? I'd want him to learn from Jameis Winston though. Jameis Winston's an awesome for this kid.
I'm not a fan of Jameis Winston, but that's all.
No, but I like him. I think he's funny. Like I think he'll get he brings levity. He doesn't take himself too seriously, but he works hard. Like
how much are we gonna show Shedeur Sanders in the waiting room? How much are we gonna show this over and over again?
All right, do you want to release the pick?
No, I'm gonna wait with the people till wait to the people. We want a live reaction. You're gonna have to act like you don't know.
Do you know what's interesting is actually I'm not gonna say anything. I already kind of said it already.
You did. You said too much. I was texting somebody because I had to text somebody. And
by the way, the Falcons are moving up. So the Rams did trade 26, but they didn't trade 26 to the Giants. That would have been Houston. The Rams are trading back, and the Falcons have moved up to 26. I think the Falcons are going to key in on one of these defensive guys because Jeff Ulbricht's obsessed with defensive players.
He is.
Not that he's the coach, but
you don't want back. You don't want back as Jets coach.
No,
that's a no.
I'd rather have you coach.
You don't want me to coach. Here's the pick.
There it is.
Here we go. Jackson Dart. Look at these Giants fans. Look at them.
That guy looks like Jackson Dart's dad.
He does look like Jackson Dart. Dude, they're pumped. They're like, let's go. None of y'all know how this is gonna play out.
Dude, this dude's gonna kill it, bro.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. Listen, all right, let's go. Jackson Dart, right? I've watched a lot of tape on Jackson Dart. He is my QB2, barely though. I have him at 2. I have Will Howard right behind him at 3.
Where did you have Shedeur Sanders?
I think I had him at 6.
Woo!
No, it wasn't. But listen, I'll be honest.
No, it's like,
I almost had him at 5. I don't know. I got to look at my rankings again. I had Riley Leonard at 4. Shedeur was either 5 or 6. I have to look. I think he was 6. I think 5. I had Milrow. I just forget. But
there's a lot of players you looked at.
Jackson Dart. Listen. First read, similar to Shedeur, when they lock on a first read and that first read gets open, they'll get him every time. When the play call is there, they get him. He is able, as you're seeing, he's a little bit deceptive. He'll look one way, he'll look the other. At the NFL Combine is when Jackson Dart won me over because I didn't like Jackson Dart so much about a few months ago before the Combine. I wasn't a big fan because he's good on tape.
29 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Good numbers.
Yeah, solid. He could have, but also you look at those 29 touchdowns. He had a few games where he had 4 or 5 against some crappy teams that they were running the score up Lane Kiffin's offense. Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss like to run that pony offense, they call it. Had one of the best, most underrated wide receivers in this draft in Trey Harris. But what I do like about Jackson Dart is
most career passing yards in Ole Miss history. Past Eli Manning for that.
You can develop him, and that's the one thing you can do.
The Giants take another Ole Miss quarterback, and they're hoping to have the glory that
the
former Ole Miss quarterback had in Eli Manning.
That's why they pay the big bucks. That's a good call.
I wonder how much that influenced them taking him. They're like, we saw this before with another.
There's definitely connections there.
There's some connections there. I'm
still. You're stunned right now.
No, I'm still.
You are.
I wanted Shedeur. I wanted Shedeur.
You're not even a Giants fan. What do you care?
Because I wanted Shedeur in New York, man.
No, I wanted Shedeur. I hear it.
In
fair enough. I didn't mean it like that.
New York is the Giants' first-round quarterback.
You're a Steelers fan,
as we look at here and what they've done here. I wanted Shedeur to. Hey, Shedeur might still have in Pittsburgh. Maybe Pittsburgh trades their way in the second round. I don't know. Yeah. You don't know.
I'll read you what Dame Brugler had. Shout outs to the Beast. Just his a few sentences on Jackson Dart. Overall, Dart needs time to develop his progression-based reads and anticipation, things he wasn't asked to do regularly in college, but he's a natural thrower of the football with promising mobility and high-level competitive intangibles. If allowed to develop at his own pace, like we've been saying, let him develop. He offers NFL starting upside in the right situation. He was Dame Brugler's quarterback 3. You know who Brugler's quarterback 2 was?
Shedeur Sanders.
Shedeur Sanders, and still not drafted.
Dame Brugler knows something.
Hey, listen, man. He might. I disagree, but what do I know?
What do we like? Here's the thing.
I disagree.
What I do like.
I had Dart 2nd. I have Shedeur 5th or 6th. I got to look him up.
I would have taken Shedeur here, but I'm not mad at this pick. And here's my thing. Which there's another part of it that would have been interesting too. I'll get to that later. But I do think that Jackson Dart is going into a situation that I like, as we talked about, for quarterbacks in the NFL. He's coming into a place where he does not have to be the guy right away. He can learn from Russell Wilson, who's a really good quarterback. He can learn under Jameis Winston. He comes in, he's a QB3. He can relax. He can be fine.
He's my QB6. You want to know the 5 guys in front of him?
Let me hear.
I have Cam Ward 1, Jackson Dart 2, Will Howard 3, Riley Leonard 4. I'm crazy about Riley Leonard. Make fun of me for it later. 5, I have Kyle McCord.
McCord, okay.
I like McCord. I just like his arm. He's got so much of a better arm than Shedeur, and they both can't run. So whatever. And then Shedeur's a little better at running. Actually, Shedeur can.
I trust Shedeur to make.
Yeah, I do too. He's more athletic than McCord, even though he's not like athletic. If that makes sense. Like he gets it.
He's athletic enough. Like he can move enough, right?
Interesting pick right here. So the Falcons traded up James Pierce. James Pierce is a very, very twitchy edge. Doesn't have the most natural body lean as an edge, but out of Tennessee, he is he's got a lot of upside as an edge. People really like him. I'm surprised Mike Green hasn't gone yet, because Mike Green was getting projected. He was 3 spots above on Brugler's list. James Pierce was the 7th edge. Mike Green was a 4th out of Marshall. But Mike Green got in some trouble in high school and in college. That kind of like forced.
First, I heard his draft stock there. Giants fans seem to be liking this pick.
Dude, this draft is listen. The 3 most important positions in football: quarterback, left tackle, and edge. You have Andrew Thomas. So that's left tackle's good. You got another edge.
Yep.
You have 2 arguably. You definitely have 1 in Burns. And now you got a quarterback. And you have 2 others on the roster. So I think they're also Shane and Dayball are also doing things for their job, because I think there's a playoff mandate, and I also think there's like, all right, well, if you don't make the playoffs or you're not in playoff contention, put this Jackson Dart kid in week 13 and let's see if you guys even have a clue what you're doing. So I think this was like they had to hit a home run in this draft, and they went all out for round 1. And listen, man, they right now, and they didn't give up crazy amount of capital. We saw they gave up 34, they gave up a third round, and then the future 6. It's smart. I mean, listen, you got to do what you got to do. I like it.
You got to give something to get something. And if this is your guy you believe in, and you got, Giants end up with 2 first-round picks on the night. We'll see how everybody's going to have these draft grades. And again, we don't know what these players are going to turn out to be.
The thing is, if Shedeur Sanders does turn out to be a stud in the NFL,
I think
this will come back to burn not only Dayball and Shane. This will come back to burn Mara and the Giants.
But to be fair to the
Giants, do have the stigma. You know what the stigma is with the Giants and quarterbacks. This isn't a good look either.
No black quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if this,
I'm glad you said it before me.
I'm just.
I felt like was like the room got too black for them. They like 3 black quarterbacks. I don't know. Well, for granted, there's not a lot of teams in the NFL with 3 black quarterbacks in one room.
It's just Giants, reality. I mean,
actually, let's think about this because something I wanted to talk about. I should have asked. I've been meaning to ask Paul Schwartz this. This will be the first year the Giants will definitively have a black quarterback to start the season as the starting quarterback, right?
Yeah, you're right.
With Russell Wilson
or
something happens to Jameson.
At one time with Eli,
right when he came for Eli, and Geno Smith should have played more after that. But that's
100%.
That's a whole nother story there. It doesn't fit in there that they were like, "Hey, we're going to get our guy of the future," and it's Jackson Dart, and it's not Shedeur Sanders. Now, I'm going to say something else to your point, and this actually, I'm not saying that race has something to do with this, but a lot of people know this. The Giants were not very fond of another confident person that was in their building, who I thought was a fabulous player, in Odell Beckham Jr. And here's a guy who's a very confident guy. I like the confident guys. I liked OBJ. I think the Giants should never trade him away. I thought that was a mistake. But you're right. The Giants do have the stigma out there. They're like, hey, Russ and Jameis, you're good to be the bridge, but the future is not black for us at quarterback.
The optics for sure are not going to run well on this, especially in New York. The media outlets are going to take this and run with it.
Now listen.
You don't know, but
I don't know that for sure.
It doesn't look great.
It's all jokes on that.
But
I think I will say this. I think it's crazy in the year 2020. We got to 2025. It's the first time the Giants will start a black quarterback to start the season.
That is crazy.
It's insane.
Dude.
That's insane, right? But forget all that being said.
Considering what they saw in their own division, think about their own division. Like how many times they've been burned by
It's when you think about that. For a team that plays New York, it's kind of crazy. But take all that aside. It's all about winning. And if Jackson Dart wins, Jackson Dart is
100% Dexter.
Nobody's gonna care.
And that's where you're a football guy.
I don't think they have to draft somebody for what you hope that they're making decisions on the best player available. We hope people are doing that. Do people have biases? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We know this. In a lot of different places. And we're not
so the Ravens
casting these persons. Ravens trading?
Yeah. Sure. I just wanted the Ravens are trading. The Ravens are taking. Sorry, I thought I was reading a trade thing. Ravens are taking. Not my favorite safety in the draft. My favorite safety is Nick Eamon-Warry.
He's gonna be the next Ed Reed.
Bro, Nick Eamon-Warry's like if Ed Reed and what's his name? If Ed Reed and
Troy Polamalu, who we know?
No.
Ronnie Lott? Who's a good other great safety?
Who was that Colts safety that was like jacked out of his mind that people thought was on like steroids?
Bobby Sanders.
No, the other guy.
Bobby Sanders was
the
great.
Guy later, I forgot his name. But
Landry?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So if you combined Laron Landry and
shout out, I forgot about
and Ed Reed, and they had a kid, it would be Nick Eamon-Warry. Why they didn't take Nick Eamon-Warry, I don't know. Probably because he's a nut job back there and he's running
sometimes you need a nut
job
back
sometimes
there.
You need a little crazy guy.
Sometimes you
but
need
they
a little
got the other
back
best
there.
Safety in this class. They got Malachi Starks out of Georgia. So both Malachi Starks and Eamon-Warry are pretty close on most people's. I have Nick Eamon-Warry higher. I think Nick Eamon-Warry is legitimately just different. Guy ran a 4.38. He's 220. At 6'3", he's just a legit unit. But Malachi Starks is a general back there. You team him up with Kyle Hamilton. Baltimore always does things ahead. So nobody thinks about getting 2 safeties early on in the draft. But when you're playing 2 deep safety now in the NFL, and that's an advantage for teams that they can do it, what do? Baltimore is always a forward-thinking franchise.
They are.
They do things that nobody else does, and teams do it later. They did it this year with Derrick Henry. They did it with Lamar Jackson. They constantly do things that teams wouldn't even consider, and that's why they're constantly in the playoff in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl hunt for the most part. And they win Super Bowls every 10 years or so. They'll win one, and you don't know how sometimes. But I don't like good pick because I like their difference in thought. But
it's not the guy you.
I think Nick Eamon-Warry and Kyle Hamilton, who Nick Eamon-Warry loves. He was talking about him the other day on a podcast. Actually, Nick Eamon-Warry about Kyle Hamilton. I thought Eamon-Warry and Kyle Hamilton would have been like insane together. Maybe too insane together that it didn't make sense for them. So they wanted to go with a more like,
Malachi Starks,
less risky pick.
I like the rose-colored suit.
No, Malachi Starks is good, dude. Malachi Starks is just a good football player.
Listen, the Ravens don't usually miss on this stuff.
No, they don't.
At all whatsoever. They usually don't miss on this stuff at all whatsoever. So, we'll see. Malachi, but this is one of my favorite fits of the night. So I'll go with that. Giants fans, what are you thinking about this pick? Lonnie, I see you checking in, said it did not rain in Green Bay. Lonnie, I thought about that. Shout out to you for bringing that up. That would be a disaster. Could you imagine being out there waiting for these picks and then it be raining?
It is raining?
No, it's not. He said it's not raining in Green Bay. I was thinking about that. Can we get some cover for the people? Thomas J said,
they don't have coverage all the time. Yeah.
No cover for the people.
Actually, Kansas City, I think they did.
Did it rain a little bit that year in Kansas City?
It did, actually.
It did.
It was like on and off. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad, though.
Nick Federico said, big fan of this for the Giants. He likes to trade. Let us know if you like to trade. We are going to wrap on this. We've been going for quite some time. It is already after 11 o'clock here on this. I'm glad we stayed around because the Giants trading back up into the first round. They get Abdul Carter at number 3. They trade back into the first round. They get Jackson Dart at 25. So a fantastic job by them there. As we're going to look at the draft board one more time tonight, and just the Jets and Giants and what they did, the two local teams. And we see what the Giants did, a fantastic job there. And then the Jets getting their offensive tackle there at number 7. Fantastic job by them. So I think, listen, I like what these teams came to do. I like the plan that they had, Frankie. The Giants get their quarterback. They get an edge rusher. Jets end up getting Membu and getting the offensive tackle guy that can help protect Justin Fields. So a little bit of a plan, seems like, for a lot of these teams. You don't know how any of this is going to work out. We have no idea, but it was a great night in New York City. The picks
great night.
Remember,
Knicks win, but also remember, you win sometimes in the second round. The Eagles last year getting Cooper DeJean.
And I loved.
And the other kid they had in the first round, but Cooper DeJean was a great pick for them. Ladd McConkey going in the second round last year.
I forgot Ladd McConkey. We thought he was going to go late in the first round last year. He goes in the second round. Chargers get him.
Yes, sir. So there's and this draft specifically, there's a lot left out there. So you have a lot of players out there that I really like. So yeah, this is where you kind of like build out the roster in the winning way, as they say. But man, this is so much fun, dude.
Man,
I love the vibes here. It's just great.
It was a
great
pleasure
time,
to have you,
man.
man.
You're the man. I know you're a little bit sad that
sad? Why not?
Because you wanted Shedeur on the Steelers. I'm sorry, dude. I know you wanted it.
Hey, it would have been nice. Who's saying
you're gonna wake up tomorrow? You're gonna be like, I like Derek Harmon. I like what Frankie's saying, but damn it, why don't we?
No. Here's the thing.
No, it was the biggest storyline out of
I think the biggest storyline now is going to be like, where does Shedeur get picked? Are they going to have the camera on him tomorrow the whole time? How much are we going to watch of Shedeur if he doesn't get picked? And is there a team that's going to take him in the second round? Are the Steelers going to still? The Steelers are still in play for him. It's not it's definitely off the board. It doesn't look like he's going to get picked in the first round. Detroit's not picking him here. Washington's not picking here. If anybody trading up, Buffalo's not picking. All these guys, all these places have quarterbacks. So it looks like Shedeur is going possibly day 2.
I'll say this. He made it fun, though, the first round. Like, without the Shedeur storyline, it would have...
Oh, you would have boring?
It would have been boring. No, not boring. It would have been what? We would have talked about Ashton Genty, Travis Hunter, and then what? Like, this is a cool storyline. This is something that, like, years down the line, they're going to look back and they're going to say, the Giants traded up to get not Shedeur, who met with Brian Daboll and they got Jackson Dart. And the stigma we spoke about. I mean, this is where you don't realize it, but down the line, this is where 30 for 30s are based on. So I can
see the Giants did not want to draft a black quarterback, so they took Jackson Dart and they continued not developing them. Who knows? I don't know.
I know.
I don't know. I don't know the stigma. It's all jokes. We're joking, people.
Yeah.
It's all funny. But hey, man, I had fun.
Yeah, I had fun, man. You're the man, dude.
This was great.
And you got the little Chianti that I brought you. You know,
I brought you
Italian wine. You know, we got to shout out the Italian vino.
This man right here always hooks me up with some good wine. Your dad has a wine shop that he runs. Correct?
Yeah, Dutch Kills Wine and Liquor. It's part of like a group that my dad's part of, food and beverage that he started when he was actually 33. He started the business, and you've
hooked me up with blessed me with some wine before.
Yeah, so
this weekend, it's my birthday weekend this weekend.
Oh, that's right.
I'll definitely enjoy.
You know, I had it on my calendar. Your birthday. I don't know why.
I appreciate.
No, I mean, I think it was cool.
It's all like automatic, but you see people's birthdays.
Yeah, what is it? It's the 26th?
26.
Oh, 26. Okay.
Yeah,
twice your birthday weekend. Better pop that.
So yeah, I will enjoy some of that. I enjoyed doing this. This was
sad
fun.
that Ryan couldn't be here.
Yeah, but Ryan will be back with us.
Ryan will be rocking out
next year. Shout out to the great Ryan Sampson. Shout out to the crew, everybody who worked behind the scenes. There's a lot of people who you do not see here who does a great job. Nikolai Jackson, Tommy Cohen, Tommy Hogan, Wesley. I don't know why I'm forgetting your last name right now. I apologize. Explain. Wesley,
it's like me with Jeff Ulbrich.
Yeah, I know. We remember Jeff Ulbrich. His name. Shout out to all the people because they deserve so much of the credit in making us look good and making our job easy and having the full screens and the information and all the stuff we need to be comfortable and deliver you a really exciting live stream. And then obviously we have to thank the people who tuned in. There was people, rocking in. I know it was a late night for some people, and you couldn't stay up that long. And after the Jets and Giants pick, but
we were at 400 at a point, and 300 strong, 100 strong.
Yeah. We're glad that people rocked with us on this, and even stayed around to see the Giants late trade into the first round and make their pick. So we appreciate that from you guys. We are nothing without the people. We'll definitely do this again. We've got more live stream stuff coming up. Knicks watch party on Sunday, 1 p.m. That'll be game 4. We'll be here, myself and Brian Fonseca, and a guest, which we will announce soon. So, for all the great people here at the New York Post, my guy Frankie Vittorini for U Stadium, check them out. Follow them, like the whole thing. Same thing with New York Post Sports. Check us out. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We're going to be bringing you good content. Check this man out on Gangs All Here. Check out Big Blue Rush for your New York football content. 2 of the best football shows. The 2 best football shows covering New York football. Definitely do it. Frankie?
Appreciate you, my man.
Appreciate you, my brother.
Have a good night.
We will do this again next year.
We'll talk soon.
We'll talk soon. Everybody out there, thank you and peace.